faster than ever, hungry, and I'm going to come back and take what is mine, bigger and better. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. Saddle, cut to the chase. I ain't somebody who stays in one place. Ready to go, I'm coming to play. You better know I still got something to say. It's a new dawn, it's a new day. Some things are different, but nothing has changed. Still got my number, still got my name. Tell everybody I'm back in the game. match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, cause you know that I was born for this. I was born for this. Never met a match I couldn't handle. No one else could ever hold a candle. Get ready for a battle, 'cause you know I was born. I tell you I was born for this. Ain't nothing gonna stop me now. I was born for this.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It is playoff racing action here tonight. 14 races have set us up for the stage here tonight, where 16 drivers have made it into the playoffs. Those 16 drivers: Ted Wade, Taylor Peacock, Keith Bradley, Chris Cinnamon, Adam Newbert, Stephen Gregory, that Brady LaBeouf, Joey Doucette, Stephen Thomas, Tyler Dittmer, Jacob Klinghart, Justin Lumpkin, Robert Richards, Dana Shepard, Devin Painter, and Jose Luis Rivera taking that final spot to become our 16 drivers, our Sweet 16. They are here to race for 3 races before we cut them down in half to see 8. And the stage, it's here, Iowa Speedway, and we're proud to be covering it here on LSRTV. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Kevin England, and as well that of Charles Wooten, running productions at LSRTV Studios. Kevin, it's playoff racing time, and here in Iowa, a great stage to see how these drivers are going to test here in race 1 of 3 in this round.
It took us 14 races to figure this out. Now we get to go championship racing, and what a neat little racetrack. 7/8 of a mile, and it's one of those racetracks that you really have to be up on the wheel. We're going to see some great racing here tonight at Iowa.
It certainly is going to be a good one for all these drivers. As you can see, our timer's going down. Drivers are currently under practice at this moment. But Kevin, we'll talk about those 16 drivers I just listed off. A lot of them, you can tell that they've been hitting their marks, looking fast for themselves. I mean, last couple of weeks, and I could say most of the season, we've been harping on Ted Wade being the fastest driver to watch out for. But last week's winner, the last driver to get a win in the regular season, Taylor Peacock, also going to be a driver to watch out for here this evening.
Yeah, there's a handful of drivers who have shown they can get the job done, but nobody's been more consistent than Ted Wade. He leads laps led, he leads poles, he leads top fives, he leads rookie points, he leads just about every stat that you can. But you know, we've seen flashes of brilliance from Newbert. We've seen Ted Wade chased down and passed by Taylor Peacock. We've seen Keith Bradley have some good runs and a win to his credit or two. So, you know, there's guys that could get the job done. And when it comes to championship time, just dig a little bit deeper to find a little bit more. This is a type of racetrack that rewards getting up on the wheel.
And also, this is going to be elimination playoff racing style. So we're going to start out with our Sweet 16 that we have currently right now. We're going to have 3 races for themselves here tonight at Iowa Speedway. Then next week, going to Talladega Super Speedway, and finishing off the Sweet 16 round, going to Kansas Speedway. And in those 3 races, you've got to be consistent. All the points have been wiped away. The only points that were given were bonus points to the drivers that have found themselves into victory lane, that placed them in better slots and points coming into this round. But then after those 3 races, we cut it in half. We could then get to our Elite 8 that only are going to have 2 races to race in that round, Richmond and Darlington, before we cut that group in half again, and we get to our final 4 that will race at Homestead. 6 races left here, Kevin, for the rest of the season, including here tonight at Iowa. But with that of a minute and a half left, I mean, it's been a spectacular season, but man, the pressure now has hit these 16. It's playoff racing time. And what do you think for some of these drivers? It's got to be their mentality moving into this first race of the Sweet 16.
Yeah, this is not one of those tracks that traditionally you get into trouble. Meaning, if you just mind your P's and Q's, you're going to finish the race, you're going to have a good run if you're fast enough. But yet, anybody that's in the championship round cannot afford to have a bad race. Really, they need to be conservative in some respect, make sure they get a top finish. And, darn, you could lock in the win. Boy, that'd be all the better for this place.
It really would. Well, let's take a look here at our race information for the rest of the evening. We set you up for how the playoffs are going to look. Well, here's how tonight's going to go. As currently, we got 30 seconds left in practice, and then the drivers are going to have solo qualifying, where they're going to have 2 laps to put down their fastest time possible. They're also going to have themselves 10 minutes to do so. But I got to say, the weather's going to be pretty cool for them. We'll take a look at our ML performance weather here. And I got to say, Kevin, the weather's perfect for these drivers as the sun's starting to set, and we'll see the lights later on.
Yeah, absolutely. The racetrack should have plenty of grip in it. You can really squeeze that throttle down coming from the center off to the back straightaway to get your speed where you make it. This racetrack, a little deceiving. It's flat on the backstretch, but got quite a bit of banking in the front stretch. So you don't almost feel like you ever get out of the throttle coming out of turn number 4. You just really run that truck down into turn number 1, and I couldn't think of a better racetrack to start our championship run. This track is a little tricky, some bumps down there in turn number 1. It's got all those neat characteristics that make it a fun racetrack, a driver's racetrack, and that's what you want for a championship bid.
Also, the fact that the progressive banking that the driver's going to be having for themselves. A driver we haven't seen, though, in a while, like Lothan's going to be a driver for us to watch out for the 59. Having a different number on the card, though, 43 is going to be on the truck here tonight, but 59 is going to be on our ticker for Blake. Kevin, a driver that's found himself into victory lane earlier this season at Watkins Glen, but also think about some other short tracks causing all the drama at that of Lucas Oil Raceway. I'm wondering how here at this short track, less than a mile, 0.88 miles, this length of this course, how Blake's going to be trying to react for himself, being a non-playoff contender, and if he's just going to be still rubbing those elbows, trying to get a win, as he's going to be the first driver to put a time down with a 23.598.
Ooh, gets a little loose there off the corner. This racetrack runs just like the racetrack he ran in real life in the trucks. Little similarity to Richmond Raceway, so I suspect that he's going to feel pretty comfortable here as a 23.72. I saw him step the truck out there. You run right at the edge of rip, and it is possible you're turning, and then all of a sudden the front wheels rip and the rear end pops out. You got to be really on your P's and Q's here to keep the truck straight coming up off the corner.
A driver that came in just sneaking his way into the playoffs, that of Jose Luis Rivera, as Rivera's been a driver that's trying to find a little bit more consistency for himself. Also, driver cams, we're showing them off here at NASRA, as we've been getting more driver cams for all the series that we cover here on LSRTV. Kevin, it's a little nice now being able to see the driver's point of view on how they're reacting facially, as well as also sometimes seeing how the driver's steering wheel action is in real life.
Yeah, it's always fun to watch the drivers. Some of them are actually real drivers that run cars out on the local super speedways or local short tracks, as it may be. And I tend to see the drivers who have real experience. They lean their head, they get that tilt. He gave a little wave there. He looks pretty focused, though, coming down into the corner. One thing you always notice with these drivers, they don't blink.
No, they really don't. It is focus at all times, as we were right on board with the 97 Jose Luis Rivera, second for himself. Great run as he pulls it onto the apron, and that is going to be qualifying for the 97. His time, 23.585, but going to be bested as some other drivers topping the board. But here we go, hopping on some other drivers that are trying to see if they can beat now that of Devin Painter's time for himself. 64 has put down that of a 23.559. as here's how Kyle Hess is going to be putting down the times. This 86 has been looking fast, and also a driver using VR.
You can just see how bumpy this racetrack is, as it's shown a lot of wear since its opening in 2006, especially down there in turns 1 and 2. And some drivers pick and choose their lane depending on how they want to go through those bumps. Kyle running right smack dab in the middle, and then turns it down on the corner exit to carry as much speed to the straightaway, and he'll complete his run. Kyle slotting in there about 6th place, it looks like right now on the provisional board.
And for Kyle Hess, a very clean run for himself, as we're now going to be hopping on board with Jacob Klinghart, driver that's performed very well at the super speedway racetracks and the mile and a half. These short tracks, though, is where we've seen the 5 struggle here of late. But Kevin, certainly Iowa is a track that you can change your fortunes at the short tracks, as the 5 going to be starting his first time here going into turn number 1.
Yeah, through the bumps, porpoising the car up to the back straightaway, rolls right up to the outside, carries as much speed as he can. Drives the truck down low. He's about half a car length off that yellow line, and rolls up again, carrying as much speed as he can to the banking here on the front straightaway. And you know, in some respects, it almost feels like this racetrack rides as a circle. When you come off the backstretch, you're straight for a little bit, but then you finally turn it in, and it's rounded on the front. So, you know, one of the dynamics is you need to be fast in turns. That's just the only way you make speed here in Iowa.
Again, that was the 5 of Jacob Klinghart, going to come away with 6 currently on the board, as we are now halfway through qualifying. About half the drivers put down a time at this moment. Still waiting on some other very fast short track drivers, as here's the 17 of that of Brandon Bullock going to be starting his time. And for that of Brandon Bullock, going to be on his 2nd lap, currently 20th on that first lap on the board. That's the last of the drivers that have put down a time, but it's always that 2nd time for these drivers that we're finding a little bit more speed, but that's if they don't get squirrely out of 2. Out of 4, 17 pushes up to the wall, cross the line, hoping he can best this time for himself. And for the 17, not going to be able to best it too much. It's going to be a 23.944, still 20th on the board. Because there, Kevin, I mean, Brendan Bullock's a driver that's more so of once we get to that race trim and on track, it's a lot more of that stay consistent and out of trouble. Like you were telling these drivers earlier, I mean, it's more of just stick to the race, keep your nose clean. You're going to have a good run here at Iowa.
Yeah, and I have to say, that is, I think, one of my favorite paint schemes of all sim racing, that one we just saw. There's just something about the look of that truck as we see Stephen Gregory out taking time right now. You know, track position, it's hard to pass at this racetrack. Track position's important, so you're going to see these drivers put a lot of emphasis on this qualifying. That's right down to the yellow line, drives it hard up off the corner down the back straightaway. He'll turn in and see what kind of line he gets here. Again, right down to the yellow line, just touches the apron. Good lap for Stephen Gregory. Looks like he carries a lot of speed to the line. Where's he going to land? A 23.67 is his time. That's going to put him down in 13th. Looked good, but didn't seem to be as fast as it looked.
And for Stephen Gregory, best qualifying for himself here, Kevin, has been at that of the Lucas Oil Raceway for the 61. He qualified 3rd and coming through 3 and 4, trying to find a little bit of that extra speed for this 61. And across the line, it's a little bit better. I don't know if it's going to be best enough, as it's going to be a 23.677. That's still going to be keeping him around similar position, and that is not best in his first lap. I think that's been kind of a shocker. Here's some of these drivers that you expect to put down a better second lap. They certainly have been struggling, as here's Keith Bradley, one of our drivers that is a 2-time winner this season. He has been looking stout when we go to the super speedways, but we'll see if we can find consistency here at the short tracks.
Yeah, every time I think of that number, I think Keselowski as Bradley crosses the stripe, and he's going to head down into the banking of turn number 1. It seems so far, Sam, everybody that's run the second lap has been faster, but the first lap's been a good indicator, so we'll see what Bradley has put up on the board here.
Coming through turns 3 and 4, out of the exit of 4, pushing it all the way up to the wall. If you brush it, that's going to invalidate your time. And for that of Keith Bradley, going to be bumping up to 10th on the board for the 29 machine. Good enough for that positioning, as all the other drivers that are on track, they have already finished out their times, but that was just seen for Bradley, his first lap. Here comes the second out of turn number 4. Can he get any faster? Just a little bit over a tenth slower was that first lap. This go around, he's looking fast, but not fast enough. 4th for Keith Bradley.
5.61, that's a decent time. That's going to put him somewhere in the top 5 right now as final drivers on the racetrack. And you know, that's a respectable place to start. Anytime you can get a top 10 and see the pace car off the start, I think you're in a good way.
I would say so. I mean, you also get to see when the drivers are going to take off. We're coming up to our final minute of qualifying. We've got ourselves 5 drivers that have not put down a time so far. Ed Osborne, Cody Knott, Joey Doucette, Robert Richards, as well as that Brian Abbott that has still not hit the track for qualifying. And with how much time's left, they're not going to have enough time to get out there and put a time down. As Kevin, it has been a wild one for these drivers, but here's our wall of drivers and where they are. Drivers are trying to get their cameras situated. Our top 3 we got to see for ourselves. Again, that was Jose Luis Rivera in our top right. In the top middle, going to be Kyle Hess, and as well going to be seeing all the other drivers getting themselves situated in the right positioning for their cameras. Got to say, it's been a fun one to watch these drivers all get their cameras set up and want to be showing off their setups as well as just trying to get themselves situated for racing here tonight.
Yeah, and I just love watching the VR thing. The next conquer for us is to see if we can get a VR view of what some of these drivers see, because the visuals on a VR is just amazing. When you go into the corner, see the banking rise in front of you, not too dissimilar from watching the movie Days of Thunder. It's just a really cool sensation. The pit stops are amazing. When the pit crew comes around and pits a car, you look to the right outside the window, you see the guy pull a wheel, and there's a lot of cool visuals when you run VR.
Yeah, I mean, hearing from drivers that use VR, they always state how much of it helps, giving you a little bit more of a depth of field on how you can react, as well as being able to turn your head a little bit more to see. But for the drivers here tonight, the grid is set. It's time to look at our Team 126 Racing Team action on where the driver's going to be lying. Getting the pole position, it's Stephen Thomas, stealing it away from that of Keith Haney to his outside for the 78. Row number 2, going to be Devin Painter in the 64 with Keith Bradley to his outside for the 29. Row number 3, Adam Canwell in the 63, a great qualifying time for himself. And Mr. Consistent, Ted Wade in the 2, going to be back in row number 3. Row 4 going to find us with that of Jose Luis Rivera in the 97, as well as short of that, trying to go for a short track win. It's going to be Blake Lothan in the 59, back in row number 4. Row 5 for our finishing up our top 10, going to be that of Jacob Klinkart in the 5, as well as Kyle Hess in the 86.
Inside row 6, Adam Newbert in the number 4 to his outside to number 3 of Chris Cinnamon. Row 7, inside, it's going to be Taylor Peacock, our winner last outing, and Stephen Gregory in the number 61 will start 14. 8th row is made up of Brady LaBeouf in the 9 with Trey Pitts in the 27 to his outside. Row 9 is Tyler Dittmer in the 34, and it'll be the 18th starting spot for the 43 of Dana Shepard. Row 10, Zach Hartwick in the 88, and Christopher Blanchard in the 19.
In row number 11, it's that of Justin Lumpkin in the 87, with that of James Morris in the 47 outside. In row number 12, we find that of Jeffrey Sickles and also Derek Kilgore in the 11. Row number 13, going to be that of Brandon Bullock, as well as Eric Zimmerman in the 94. In row number 14, we find Joey Doucette, Robert Richards. These 2 playoff drivers got a lot of work if they want to get up front. And finishing out our last 2 rows, going to be Ed Osborne and also that of Brian Abbott. And last shotgun on the field, it's that of Cody Knott of Pulse Poppers. Going to be back in that row number 16. 31 trucks on track, ready for racing action here in Iowa. As up front, your Blanchard towing pole award goes to Stephen Thomas in the 23. Stephen Thomas, I would say, Kevin, kind of similar for the most of this season. We were kind of comparing Ted Wade, Stephen Thomas on their consistency at times, but the wins leaning a little bit more to that 2 machine.
Yeah, the 2 of them have put up the best stats all season long, but the one who's come on from midseason on is Haney to the outside, starting there in second, and he's got 175 laps to get the job done. We have Stage breaks at lap 40 and lap 80 here tonight, and I think these drivers, as we've seen the last couple of races, going to run really hard to that first stage break, use whatever tires they have, and see if they can get themselves in that top 10.
Also, you can tell some of the drivers rocking with a yellow banner and also a yellow spoiler for themselves. Those are our 16 playoff drivers that have the yellow on their trucks. Again, on the spoiler, you can see on that of the 23 and on the front top of the windshield, yellow banner. Those are your playoff drivers. They're the ones to watch out for. They're hoping to get some good runs here as we wait for the back of the pace truck to pull off, making the hard left, and it's time to go playoff racing action for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. It's Iowa 150, and we are green as Stephen Thomas brings us in a little bit of checkup in the middle of the field, but up front, clean start for Thomas and Haney.
Thomas through turn 1, turn 2 for the first time to the back straightaway. He's got Devin Painter following him through. Everybody looking to see if they can get to that high line as the 64 tucks in there. Haney under assault right now. Here comes the 63 of Cantwell, and it's going to be Thomas to lead lap number 1.
Stephen Thomas getting that bonus point of leading a lap, and Devin Painter going to be up second. But Keith Haney, I think, is going to be the driver to watch out for now, is Adam Cantwell in the 63 that we're riding on board with. Kevin, a driver we have not really talked about that often, but yellow flag strikes immediately further back. Issues for some of our playoff drivers. Oh no, as it's the backstretch, yellow flag strikes.
Yeah, Thomas will roll out of the throttle. Everybody kind of ease up and spread out. Come back, collect the pace car over here on the back straightaway as we're under caution for the first time. I'll put Hopper replay. Tell us what happened.
The driver
here.
to watch out for is going to be this green and black, our winner from last week, Taylor Peacock. And Kevin, that loose sensation, we haven't really talked about that much, but on the exit of the corner certainly is there. It's Chris Cinnamon, Gregory in as well, coming in late. It's going to be our last season champion. That going to be watching LaBeouf involved. All playoff drivers involved with this one.
Tell you, Brady just has had no luck. I feel for him. We didn't even talk about him. But every week it seems to be he's got a little bit of a jinx going on here.
And now going to be seeing all those playoff drivers that were involved with that wreck, that of Gregory, LaBeouf, all involved. And yeah, I mean, it's been, at times we see LaBeouf, I think in the early, you could say first half of the season, seemed like he was running very consistent. He would have, a couple of good runs and be involved in a wreck. But yeah, that is that unluckiness certainly has struck in our last season champion, who was trying to go back to back and become the first two-time champion of the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. But this is not the way that you want to start out your playoff racing action here for the Sweet 16. As Kevin, I think that's a big thing for these drivers. They only have 3 races this round to make sure that they get as many points as possible. They also have to make sure they're in the top 8 of those points. This mistake early on and being involved in this wreck, I should say, it's not the way you want to start your momentum or just getting those points.
Yeah, it just echoes the sentiment of what we said on the outset. You do not want to find trouble in these races. You need to score as many points and stay clean. And unfortunately, it only took the lap number 3, and I think maybe the one that took the biggest brunt of it is Brady LaBeouf. He's sitting down there trying to fix the damage on his truck as the field rolls by, and he's going to go 1 lap down. That is not the way he wanted to start his championship run.
It is not at all. And for Brady LaBeouf, just continuing to just get those repairs done and still in pit road is the 9, and he's been in there for over a minute of trying to get these repairs. And this is, Kevin, worst place to start for these drivers, as Chris Cinnamon now also going to duck back into pit road. But for Stephen Thomas and some of these other drivers that are up front, this is great for themselves. I mean, saving these tires, this is, again, you noted on it, 40 laps for stage 1, and then up to lap 80 for stage 2. These caution laps helping the tires out and also going to be helping these drivers get a little bit more aggressive later on. But also, I'm wondering if this is going to be hurting these drivers on if we get into a long green flag run. This first stage isn't going to give you all that information that you'd like to take in of how aggressive you are being for 40 laps on tires.
Yeah, as big as this racetrack is, it races a little bit like a short track here. After restarts, really tight and compact. The turns are a a little bit sharper than a typical racetrack where you roll off the corner. You run in close quarters, so it tends to have a little bit of caution, breeds caution factor to it. And to your point, I think these drivers want to get a stint in here and see what kind of truck they have underneath them. But, well, you're always out front, you're leading. I'll take these lap credits right here as you go through. Thomas is probably not complaining too much.
No, not at all. I would imagine he's enjoying the fact that he is up front for now, hoping to take stage number 1. Stage 1, again, beginning of lap 40 for these drivers. They're hoping for to get as many points as possible. Top 10 at that stage break, get bonus points, and you're hoping you're up there. There's a little bit of jumping up front, or top 3. Got a great launch. Cantwell, as well as that of Keith Bradley. A little bit of a stall out for themselves. We're unable to get onto the throttle, but we are green for the Iowa 150, and out of turn number 2, side by side for that of 4th place on back.
As you watch these trucks come up to speed and come around to complete the first lap, update on Brady LaBeouf. He did get his truck fixed. He is back out there running tail shotgun on the field here. He is 1 lap down, but he's the only truck 1 lap down. So should we have a caution, and we will see one at the stage break, should be able to go. Now the question is, did the damage occur to the truck, and is it competitive? I suspect he's going to be very careful right now, so we won't be able to tell what kind of speed he has in the truck, as you got a side-by-side battle there with Wade to the outside being challenged on the bottom by Cantwell.
Yeah, and Cantwell trying to make some big moves, almost making contact with that of Keith Bradley, and also behind them, battling that was going on for 8th place. Jose Luis Rivera got a little bit of a shimmy with Adam Newberg, but Ted Wade, he's doing his best to try to hold on for themselves as we move back to that of Rivera, and Rivera side by side with Blake Lothan, and Lothan on our ticker again, 59 on our ticker, 43 on his truck. But Newberg throwing it down low, wanting to try to make the pass and start moving forward.
Yeah, pretty aggressive turn in there as he rolls up off. Blakeart got to follow him through. The problem is if you don't make that pass and the truck stalls coming up off the bottom, the outside lane will drive right around you. As you see this shot here coming up off the corner, you see how much wheel they put in to coming up from the corner. And yeah, I just love watching this intensity as he tries to roll the truck up off and carry as much speed as he can and see if he can get a run for a pass.
And we are right now on board with that of Jose Luis Rivera in the 97, seeing that of 2 wide action in front end as well, being side by side with Adam Newberg. And also another thing that is always interesting, and it's something that I just got to do, is, oh boy, contact goes into that of Blake Lothan into the corner, but drivers getting a little antsy, 3 wide, and it's going to be that of Rivera stuck in the middle, able to sneak his way through. But one of those things here, Kevin, that's always interesting watching these drivers, is the little lean that they do whenever they're turning in these corners.
Yeah, what we don't know is whether he's racing with 1 or 3 monitors. A lot of these drivers have a monitor to the right and left so they can look out the windows. He was just dead set looking ahead there, and you can hear the trucks to the side and the sound. When somebody pulls up alongside of you. Really, one of your key jobs is just hold your line.
And certainly that is what he did, as contact got that other 59 out of shape, but watching drivers further back now into the wall. Watch out, don't want to be up there. That's going to be Zach Harwick, who's going to lose 2 positions in a blink of an eye and could be losing more as the 88. Got to be careful here. He's back in 17th, but that's going to be James Morris in the 47 on the outside, trying to get a good run here as drivers all around starting to get a little bit of a sensation of how these tires are feeling, but also up front, battle for the lead is just come over. Ted Wade taking out the lead position as we see other battles going on, but here's the side-by-side action. Stephen Thomas, he wants that lead right on back.
Thomas has a good run on the bottom, but here comes Wade to the top. I think Wade is going to be credited, yes, with that lap. He's going to lead for the first time here tonight. They're not settled with that. Thomas really driving that truck down through the bumps. Gets a good run up off the corner, but the high side's going to prevail. Wade goes to the front.
And right now, with the drivers that are inside of the top 10, Ted Wade, biggest mover of those drivers, up 5 positions for himself. Devin Painter on the outside as well, going to be able to make the pass. Here comes that of Haney, going to go down to the inside. Thomas He's got to hope that he can try to defend this dive bomb move, as there goes the 78, hoping he's clear coming up, and he's going to be just not clear enough. Thought he was, hesitated, and now Haney, Thomas side by side into 3 and 4.
Yeah, Painter with the charge out of turn number 4, drove up, hold a nose ahead, but here comes Wade with a good run to the outside. He's going to hold him, not sure if Painter is done yet. He's down low, right to that rear quarter panel of the number 2 of Wade. He's going to let the truck drift up and tuck right back in his slipstream.
And as you're talking about the lead, we also saw on screen there Keith Bradley getting into the outside wall on the exit of turn 2, as Ted Wade, Devin Painter, as well as that of Stephen Thomas, all in line. But Kevin, watching those drivers and the way those battles just went for the past 4 laps, outside lane seems to be the more preferred spot you want to be for defending and also making some passes, unless you really make a dive bomb move.
Yeah, you think of the way this works is you really want all that track so you could turn in and get the arc off the corner and then get the drive off. And running the high side is going to give you the best advantage of that. As you can see on the ticker, Gregory in the number 61 has pulled it behind the wall. His side is over here at lap number 20.
Yeah, I saw him having some internet issues, and it seemed to be finally taking over. 61 is done for now. We'll see if he tries to get reconnected in, but for right at this moment, Gregory is done, and now going to be 2 laps down for that 61 team. As we see on our screen, still the battling that's going on for our leaders, first, second, third, fourth, all on top of one another. And with just about a couple of moments back, even with the slight damage into the wall, Keith Bradley in 5th. He's keeping himself within a second of our leader.
Yeah, the top 5 trucks kind of running nose to tail here with a little bit of gap. Big sweep out there for Bradley as he comes off the corner. Now he's going to peak low and see if he can get the bottom charge on Haney. Haney turns down, gets blocked by the 23 of Thomas. Thomas going to come back out to the outside. These drivers seem to be searching all over the place for a different grip, whatever they can find on this racetrack.
And as the drivers continue to race on, we are technically past halfway for stage number 1 for these drivers, so it is go time for themselves. The higher positions that you were up in the top 10, the more bonus points you will be grabbing. And if you're in 10th place, you get 1 bonus point. If you're in 1st, you get 10. If you're outside the top 10 at our stage breaks, you do not get any bonus points. And for some of those playoff drivers, Stephen Gregory, who's done, that of Brady LaBeouf, who's a lap down, and also Chris Cinnamon, Peacock, those are points that are so needed for themselves, with Adam Newbert being just outside of our top 10. But looking back here, this is that of Jacob Klinkert that we're riding on board with the 5. Working that wheel as we're going down into turn number 3.
You see, he has a little bit of a lean as he rolls the truck up out of the corner. He's got a good run coming from behind. He'll know there's a truck to his left-hand turn. He's going to be careful on the turn in, allow the 43 to cruise on by. Shepard going to pick up that position.
And right now, Kevin, got to say, for these drivers that are racing on our leaders, starting to see a little bit of a difference. Ted Wade now pulling away by a half a second on 2nd place, and this is the battle for 2nd. Thomas, Painter, side by side, and for Stephen Thomas, once again, trying to dive down low, but just not able to get that exit speed. That's where the outside is prevailing, but luckily, good enough speed on the backstretch to keep himself making the pass for that 2nd place position. And now, starting to see that evolution. The outside was dominating. Could just stay there and hold your position. Now the inside starting to get a little bit more traction as they try to make some passes here.
You have to wonder if Painter's truck stepped out a little bit out of turn number 2. Looks like it's just not holding the traction. That's allowing the trucks behind him to tuck in right behind the bumper. When you have somebody right out your back window, that makes the truck even looser. And that 64 looks to be a handful right now as Bradley going to do a drive by here, see if he can pick up that position. He's going to see if he can do a slide job out of turn number 2. Not going to clear him, but he's got a good run down the backstretch.
Little bit of deja vu on how we saw Stephen Thomas make the pass here on Painter, but not able to drive it down far enough. Devin Painter had a better run out of turn 4, and that's really what the strength of the outside lane has been, is out of turn 4. Turn 2, get a little bit more speed on getting back to the throttle sooner on the outside, able to let that truck really drift out to the outside wall. He's Bradley, strong entry and center out of turn 2, now making the pass for third. Devin Painter, good qualifying run for himself, third place. He's now back to fourth, and he's got to be careful because that of Keith Haney, been missing him a couple of these weeks on really the speed the 78's had. Now he'll dive it down low for the fourth place position, and for Devin Painter, this certainly is not where he wants to place himself, but still in the top 5. These are good bonus points to be grabbing here as we're coming up to 10 laps to go here in this stage 1.
And you look at Haney, he does not have a yellow adornment on his truck, so he's not running for championship points, but everybody's got yellow fins right in front of him. And I think that weighs on your mind. You know who the championship guys are. You're going to give him a little more quarter here, but Haney's been fast all year long, and looks like he's got a top 5 truck here, currently running in 4th. And I wonder, he started in 2nd, Sam, and it almost looks like he took a conservative approach to the first part of that run. Now he's picking up a little speed, and he's going to see if he can get up here and challenge these guys. But Wade out front, clean air, and once again, he just continues to lead the laps and build his stats.
Also want to give an update on that of Stephen Gregory. Going to find himself back out on track, as here's some of the drivers that are racing. It's extremely hard. This is for 8th place. Trey Pitts in the 27 on the inside, trying to get by that of Jacob Klinkart, as well as Adam Newbert in 10th. All 3 of these drivers on top of one another, and Adam Newbert, I think, is the biggest shock in my mind. Thought we were going to see the 4 start to really move his way forward and potentially go for a top 5 run here in stage 1. Instead, he's been going in the opposite direction after moving up to 7th at one moment.
Yeah, if I'm Newbert in the 4, I'll hook the tow hitch to the back of that number 27. Pitts is having a good run here. He's up 8 positions, probably the biggest climber next to a couple of those guys out in the pack. Started Joey Doucette, Robert Richards up 13, but Trey Pitts has made his way into the top 10 and climbing forward.
Doing a great job is that of Kyle Pitts, and currently of those in the top 10, biggest mover, like I said, up 8 positions for the 27. But for that, is Stephen Gregory back out on track. He's been able to reconnect to the server, but he's got to be currently 9 laps down is the 61. And also another driver to watch out for if his issues continue to rage on. The 3 of Chris Cinnamon. He said been having some very bad internet issues here tonight. The 3 involved in our first accident of the day. He's going to be just hoping to survive his internet-wise and also with the damaged truck.
Yeah, and Brady LaBeouf just does not look like he has any speed. He's languishing out in the back of the pack. In fact, it is possible that by the end of this stage, he's going to find himself 1 more lap down. Right now, he's just trying to see if he can get a couple more laps here and get to that lead lap with that truck with the front end damage. It's certainly not as fast as it needs to be tonight.
No, not at all. And now we're going to move back up to the leaders, who are going to be, like you note, on close to the 9, as this is actually going to be seeing our leaders now side by side. Stephen Thomas battling with Ted Wade, and Wade's going to get a little bit shimmy there out of turn 2. And for that of Ted Wade, at one moment, the gap was over that of a half a second. Now it's nowhere. He's now falling back to 2nd, and across the line, going to be finding the 23 leading that lap. And now down into turn number 1, it's going to be that of Thomas, as well as Keith Bradley, making their surge forward. And looks like the 2, he might be stuck on the outside of being trained on if he's not careful here.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple times. The 2 just does not seem to have the long run truck, and that's something they'll put in the notebook for later tonight when we get to that final stint. Here, it's a jackrabbit run to lap number 40, and while Wade didn't do a terrible job, a couple drivers finding a chink in the armor, and Thomas drives on by, and right now, Wade's just trying to do all he can to fend off Bradley and see if he can hold that 2nd position as they tuck to the back bumper of LaBeouf.
Just showing if everyone's on equal footing and close to one another, our top 4, they will not relinquish any type of speed from one another. Devin Painter, who once was in this group as LaBeouf, stays high, make a dead weight, have to duck all the way down low, and everyone going down into that yellow line. We are now on the last lap of stage number 1, and right now, Stephen Thomas feeling comfortable, confident. He made the pass on Ted Wade just that at 3-4 laps ago. And now he's hoping and will do so. Stage 1 goes to the 23, and that will be our Stage 1 break, sponsored by Race Sim Racer Hub. If you're looking to get stats, and we even use Sim Racer Hub ourselves, gives you all the stats from leagues, drivers, anything from top fives, wins, polls, and even more information. Go to that of Sim Racer Hub for all of your stats needs here on iRacing, as it's going to be that of Stephen Thomas taking the stage 1 break. Ted Wade in second. Third goes to Keith Bradley. Keith Haney goes to fourth. Adam Cantwell gets 5th place. Devin Painter dropping all the way down to 6th. With Blake Lothan, that of Trey Pitts, Adam Newbert, and Justin Lumpkin going to take that 10th place position as the drivers hit pit road. And Kevin, this could be an important pit road stop on who's going to be able to make some moves if they get into their stall cleanly.
Yeah, strategically, sometimes some of these drivers might think, well, maybe I'll just take right side tires later in the race, but I suspect everybody's going to take 4 tires in fuel here, and they're going to be happy to see it. This racetrack does grind the tires down a little as Wade jumps into his pit. Bradley follows suit, and there goes Thomas in his front spot. Haney going to drop in behind him, and right side tires going on all these trucks as we see them popping into their pit stalls here on pit road.
We saw our front four. They really were able to find that speed for themselves and looked very fast, as Stephen Thomas is going to be able to get himself up front and leading the way. Ted Wade, Keith Bradley, Keith Haney, Adam Cantwell going to be your top 5. With Blake Lothan, Devin Painter, Trey Pitts, Adam Newbert, and Lumpkin going to be our top 10. I think the driver I'm most surprised about, that of Devin Painter. I mean, he was up in our top 5 and part of that cluster of drivers that were dominating, and then fell all the way back to 6th position and almost losing back to 7th when we came to our stage break. I think that's the driver I'm slightly concerned about here, Kevin, on how the 64 is going to perform on stage number 2.
Yeah, perhaps he ran a little hard at the beginning of the stage. Truck faded a little bit. Now he gets a reset button here. He's going to have to climb a little bit out of the hole, but he has a little bit more notes to work on here. Is a pretty good race so far for Thomas. Started on the pole, led the first 15. Wade jumped out in front of him, picked up 17 laps. Then Thomas able to drive around him at the end of that stint and pick up the stage win. That shows that it's not the Wade show here. It's going to be a dogfight to the finish here as we start championship round number 1 at Iowa. And these guys came to race tonight.
That they certainly did. And I got to say, especially in the fact that we were seeing Ted Wade pulling away, I thought for a second we were going to see it be just the Ted Wade show, but that closing rate from Thomas, that of also Keith Bradley and Haney, I mean, that really kind of gives me hope of this race is not just going to be dominated by one driver. It is going to be close and hotly contested unless we see these drivers absolutely just dump it into the wall or into one another, as drivers are getting set in, ready to go. I mean, Kevin, playoff racing action. This is playoff race number 1. We still have 2 more to go in this Sweet 16 round. 16 drivers made it into the playoffs. They're hoping to do well. But looking at the weather here, coming into stage number 2, kind of close to the way that we saw practice ending. It's 74 degrees ambient temperature, but it's 77 degrees on track. But the wind, that has been fluctuating a lot here tonight and even during practice.
Yeah, the wind's been blowing anywhere from about 5 to 10 miles an hour. Not really sure what direction it's going in. Just quick and see if I can. Yes, southwest. I'm not sure how that fits to this racetrack, but it is going to have a little bit of an impact on this as it is modeled into the track. You know, one of the things that I would say if I'm Wade, ipso facto, he needs to switch things up. He needs to kind of save a little in the tank to be there at the long run. Either that or hope that there's a stint of cautions for him, because it just seems like so far, as strong as he runs, as many laps as he leads, Sam, his Achilles heel has been he doesn't have long run speed.
Yeah, I mean, didn't have long run speed, and also we saw that of Keith Bradley and Haney really leaned back. And I think for Stephen Thomas, I thought he just burned up his tires, and that's why he fell back. I think he might have been recognizing as well, hey, let Wade go. We'll catch him in about 15 laps. But this go around going to be a little bit shorter as we've been pacing. We're going to be going green here on laps 46. Stage break going to be at the end of lap 80 for these drivers. Again, same rules. Top 10 get bonus points. And right now it's going to be Stephen Thomas, Ted Wade, that of Keith Bradley, Keith Haney, Blake Lothan, Cantwell. They're ready to get rolling. Those are your front 3 trucks, front 3 rows of these trucks, as the Iowa 150 is green once more. And our front two side by side down into turn number 1. But Ted Wade, he's going to be trying to deck it down low, and he'll get to the quarter panel. Kevin, what a move by the two.
Yeah, I thought Thomas had a good job covering him up, but as soon as Wade got down to the bottom, he was able to make that charge run. When these tires are cool, that bottom line shows a lot of speed, and we just saw it there as Wade going to come back to the green.
I mean, we talked about, hey, maybe be patient, don't get too aggressive here, and Ted Wade doing the complete opposite of what we thought was going to be the better call to do here. As up front, drivers are racing as hard as they can, but there's one driver that's going to be low, slow, and that's Dana Shepard. Issues for the 43, and Shepard, who came in as a real dark horse and unknown on how the playoffs were going to go for the 43. That is not the way he wants stage 2 to go, as he's going to be down low. We stay green. Heavily damaged is the 43 on that left side, as up front, front three, they're finding themselves being almost a full second ahead of fourth place of Keith Haney. And Haney, he's running in fourth, but right now, really just being patient for himself, waiting to see what our front three are going to do.
Yeah, it looks like the driver who's stepped on the gas a little more here is Bradley. I think Bradley's looking to see if he can get up here and lead, as we got a truck in the grass.
Devin Painter gets loose out of 4 in the 64 because he's off the racing surface. No yellow will be thrown. We stay green. That's another one of our playoff drivers having issues here in stage number 2, adding to that of Dana Shepard. Now Painter, he's got to, after the poor end of his stage 1, it just continues to snowball here into stage 2, and now he's got to hope to stay on the lead lap until this stage is done.
And right now, Painter is at the stripe, as we say it, and Wade entering into turn number 3. So that's a full half track deficit as we see the side-by-side battle. Lumpkin down on the bottom underneath Clinkard. Clinkard has a good run to the high side. Truck steps out a little bit. Lumpkin going to tuck in behind him. Hubert running 1, 2, 3. You can kind of throw a blanket over top of those 3 as Clinkard had a good turn there. He drove away from these guys.
Oh, we were talking about Lumpkin doing well, but off of turn 2, he spins it around and into the inside wall. Another playoff driver. Issues here for stage 2. Other drivers are blinking, and a scare and a yellow is thrown.
Yeah, that one's going to hurt. Run into that truck is pretty punched in, and the arrow on this racetrack is going to make him pay the punishment for that one. As Old Spapper replays pops up here. Let's see what popped in the 87's bubble.
I mean, it was right when we got off the camera for the 87. Just gets loose, drops it down low, tries to lock it up, but just cannot do so. Hard in the inside wall. Luckily for it, that of Lumpkin, not going to be a required damage, but certainly he's going to want to come in. And because he came up in such a harsh angle up into the outside, and into the drivers that were coming on track, the yellow was thrown. As we hop on board and get a sense of this incident from Adam Newbert's perspective, just riding for now, keeping it close, gets back to the throttle and just watches the 87 get loose.
Yeah, the truck really bounces through the bumps over there, and a lot of drivers will tell you they don't really like to get hard on the throttle. They just kind of ease through until you get to the flat. But when you see someone behind you, every once in a while you kind of lose your sensibility about that and drive hard off the corner, and the truck just loses traction. And Lumpkin, pretty hard hit with the nose. That's going to be difficult to overcome.
And with the timing of this yellow, drivers 21st on back, all coming into pit road to get either tires, fuel, or just top off on some damage repairs for themselves. As with the timing of this yellow, as that's going to be giving one of our drivers a lap back, and I believe that's going to be given to Zach Hartwick, who's going to be getting one of his laps back for all these drivers. Well, that's going to be our second official on-track incident here as we are in stage number 2. We're going to step aside real quick. When we come back, more playoff racing action here on LSRTV. It's the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series, season number 4, playoff race number 1 of the Sweet 16. We'll be back in just a few.
Hey, it's it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet up topside at one of the great racetracks of the world, the Caraway Speedway. And I'd like to remind you to join us every Wednesday afternoon at 1 p.m. Eastern to 3 p.m. Eastern with coverage of Finish Line, where we talk to everybody from NASCAR to grassroots, like right here at Caraway Speedway. Carolina's Fox Sports Radio affiliates, iHeartRadio, and on the Community Radio Network at 87.5 FM. And remember, thanks to Live Sim Racing Productions, you can actually see the guest panel, ask their questions, get interactive with us with comments, and so much more in our chat box. Finish Line every Wednesday. Join us every week. Hey, it's broadcast personality Wesley Outlet, and for the second year in a row, the Community Radio Network is excited to also be the voice of iRacing on LSRTV every Monday and Thursday night with the Northwest Racing Series for Cup and Truck. Join yours truly, Justin Prince and Samuel Dyer, every week as they race towards a championship. We're also on the radio in the Triangle in the Raleigh-Durham, North Carolina area at 87.5 WCRN and anywhere worldwide at wearecrn.com. Click play, check out the coverage, the power of radio to the imagination of the listener, esports style. We are the Community Radio Network, the voice of iRacing on LSR TV. Check it out when you can, and replays are always up too.
This is our series,
So many different pieces that you have to watch out for.
where the stakes are always higher,
$300,000.
where virtual meets reality,
How bad do you want it?
They're wasting no time getting at it.
where the best thrive and the flawless win. This is the NASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. This is the first race of the round of 16 for playoff racing action at Iowa Speedway. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Kevin England, as well as that of LSR TV Studios in the background. Kevin, we're about to go green here. What are some of your thoughts as we are inside of stage number 2 for these drivers?
Yeah, just surprised at how competitive the race has been, how much the drivers have come and go, and really how they're struggling through those bumps in turn 1 and 2. We saw a couple self spins, and yeah, there is no clear winner at this point emerging for this racetrack. It's really just kind of going to come down to how this thing plays out on that long run in the final stint.
Final stage going to be starting out after lap number 80. As end of lap 80, we have our stage 2 break. Pace truck is off, and we're green once again here at Iowa Speedway for the Iowa 150. And it's Ted Wade with the best launch he's had all night long. And it's Keith Bradley as well following through. Going to be the 2 of the 29 working together and making it work for themselves. That's Steve Thomas sitting duck now, and he's got to be careful with Blake Lothan as well as others. Side by side, back for that 5th place position.
Any hard charge out of the corner. He's going to slide up in front of Pitts. Here comes Clinkart to the bottom, side by side with Haney at the line. Clinkart, good run on the bottom, carrying a lot of speed down there. He's got to be careful through these bumps up off the corner and navigate that pretty well. He slides up a little bit. Now he's going to tuck in front of Pitts. Pitts going to go down low and see if he can carry the momentum into 3.
I think we've seen so far in these first 58 laps is that if you're going to dive down low to make the pass, you better be already side by side with that driver in front of you, and hope when you go into the corner you've got enough momentum to really throw it down and try to do a slide job move. And right now up front, we've usually seen those slide job moves work the best once we get about 20 to 30 laps of wear and tear on these tires. These drivers, majority of them came into pit road back 17 laps ago at stage 1 break. As we go blimp cam view, all aerial coverage sponsored by that of Live Sim Racing. As we are watching, again, this is going to be the 27 Trey Pitts. Just having a wall of drivers behind him. That's Tyler Dittmer, 34. Haven't really talked about Dittmer that much here tonight, Kevin, but he's now going to have the 4th diving it down low. Adam Newbert wanting to grab that 8th place position.
Yeah, it's so tempting to try and make that run through 3 and 4 down on the bottom, but if you not let the truck roll up on the front straightaway, it just doesn't carry as much speed. And through the bumps down here in turns 1 and 2, you roll up off, and on the back straightaway, you get a good run off. As you see the sideways view, turn your head a little bit, and you can see how much they use that steering wheel back, forth, left, right, just trying to carry the truck. It looks like they're driving angle straight when they go down the straightaway, but you really do put a lot of English in it as you're riding around here.
Yeah, and also, I mean, when we talk about how the drivers are trying to carry that speed, you have to work that wheel if you want to maximize the speed, try to full throttle it out of the corner, working the wheel, trying to keep this truck pointing in the right direction. It's going to want to spin itself out if you're not careful, especially when these trucks are as loose as they are out of the corner. And Tyler Dittmer, he certainly is holding on for now as drivers further back further forward, I should say. It's going to be that of Blake Lothan in the 43, able to make the pass on that of Keith Haney. And Haney right now, as well as Steven Thomas, seem to be doing similar strategies that they did back for stage number 1. Be patient, let the race come to them, and they'll utilize this patience and saving their tires for later on in the stage when they can make this closing on Ted Wade and also Keith Bradley.
Yeah, Wade picked up the lead lap 47. He's been carrying it pretty comfortably right now, although Bradley's starting to chase him down a little bit. Tight battle here. Haney right to the back bumper of the 43, just trying to see what he can do to get that run and get past him. I was looking at the lap time for Lumpkin. He's about a half second off. We saw the damage he had from that nose hit, and I just don't think that truck's going to be competitive. But on the other side of that, looking down the scoring pylon, looking 12th. Pretty good recovery for Peacock.
Yeah, Taylor Peacock, who was involved in our first incident of the day, he's done a great job recovering, as well as Chris Cinnamon, who had a lot of damage for the 3. He's back in 19th place, done a great job staying inside of the top 20. But this 81, one of our first drivers, get loose out of the corner, collected 3 other playoff drivers. Here comes Rivera down to the inside, trying to take this 12th place position. But a huge credit to Peacock for still being up in the top 15.
You see Richards right behind him having a good run with the 48, just trying to get a finish here. His season's been up and down, but right now having a respectable run into the top 20.
As we're watching this, passing in action going on. Oh boy, Robert Richards really had to back out of that, and loose is going to be Rivera as it's a squeeze of these 5 drivers. Peacock, Richards, Hess, Painter, and as well going to be seeing that of Abbott. All clobbered in. They're going to go 3 wide. Robert Richards gets the green light. He's sending it 3 wide, and he dives it down low. It's going to be that of Richards, Rivera, and Peacock. And he's got to watch out as Rivera's got to be careful. He might put in the sucker hole one other time, but they're going to be now finding themselves a little bit of positioning. Rivera gets loose. Let's go 3 wide again as the 97, in a blink of an eye, just lost 4 positions.
Yeah, never fun to be in the center of that 3 wide battle. And really what we see here is 2 trucks blocking the air, punching a hole for the truck behind them to get a run. And you see Devin Painter from the back making advantage of that right now, tucked in the back bumper of Richards. Kyle Hess, I noticed over in turn 1 and 2, he's way to the high side. There's a massive, huge hole there. And as his truck goes through, if he runs that high line up there, it just bounces through that hole, and yet he's able to carry speed to the high side.
And now we're going to be seeing that of Hess trying to dive out the high side, but yellow flag strikes. Caution flag. And it's for one of our drivers that's had issues. Looks like Gregory going to be the driver involved with this one. Well, this now puts us inside of still our stage 2, and will keep us inside regulation. So we're going to have another restart before this stage is done. There's our Pulse Poppers instant replay, and you see the 61 having some more blinking issues. Comes to a complete stop, or at least slow enough that iRacing deems that is not where you want the truck to be. And the yellow flag is going to fly as Gregory then gets fired up, back moving. But because he was stopped and so slow oncoming traffic was coming, bringing out our yellow once again. For Ted Wade and Keith Bradley, Kevin, this is a worst case scenario for both those drivers that were really pushing their trucks, trying to keep a gap over that of Lothan, Haney, Thomas. And if anything, I would say that Keith Haney and Steven Thomas, they're now in a great position for this restart.
Yeah, if you've saved a little bit of something here, you only have 8 laps to take advantage of that gap that closed up here for the 2 of Wade. Well, let's see if history repeats itself. He's been out front for the whole stint here, but now he's got a couple trucks who've been kind of running in the slipstream right behind him, and it's going to be really fascinating to see if he's learned something from that first run and able to bring it home to win this second stage.
As these drivers are waving around on this caution, want to give a note on upcoming events here on LSRTV. Just got added on to the LSRTV broadcasting group. Going to be on Wednesday, that of May 11th. It's going to be the Crown Jewel LMSC Series, short track series for these drivers, where we're going to be seeing some of the World Series of Asphalt Stock Car Racing here on LSRTV. And the drivers going to be having themselves 3 different races. It's going to be that of the triple 35, triple 35, and the triple 35. And for the top 3, they'll find themselves getting some cash, as well as the driver that gets the pole position. That's going to be on LSRTV Wednesday, May 11th. We're excited to see more coverage short track racing here on Live Sim Racing TV. And Kevin, we're watching this a little bit of short track racing here, but it's in the trucks. But Wednesday, it's going to be in the super late. It's going to be in the late models.
Yeah, one of the best vehicles on the service. They run absolutely amazing on the short tracks, and one of the look of the car, the sound of the car, one of the favorite things to race. That and the trucks, honestly, I think two of the best.
And getting reports, potentially some drivers thinking about 2 tires only. It's going to be that of seeing Cody Knott as well as Ed Osborne. No, for sure, Ed Osborne did take 2 tires. Cody Knott, though, 2 tires for these drivers further back, trying to get some track position. Also, kind of a little bit of strategy call here. Might be something to try out for those drivers that are further back. They're going to be back in 18th and 19th for Ed Osborne and 18th, 19th for Cody Knott. But Kevin tried something a little bit different. Not the worst thing in the world, especially coming to the end of a stage.
Yeah, if you're out of contention for the possibility of some stage points, change some left side tires when the caution comes out 8 laps. You're still going to want to go to pit road, top off with fuel and change tires, but you'd only have to change right side tires, and you'll be able to pick up some track position. So a good call for a couple of these drivers in the back. Might make a change in the race complexion here as Wade looking at the pace truck, looking for the lights to go out this time by.
Waiting for them to go out, and this is going to be putting us with a 5 lap to go marker for this stage, meaning where if we get a yellow by the time that we either get to our stage break is going to be at the end of lap 80 or before. If we get another yellow once we go green, that will be the end of the stage. Only the top 10 get those bonus points, and also those bonus points, they're only really going to be going to those that are in the playoffs racing. And again, those that are racing for a championship that are in our Sweet 16. 16 drivers that are in the playoff right now. They've got those green spoilers that you see on screen for that of Bradley and Wade. And also the green, that of the yellow banners that are with the drivers' names over the windshield. Those are your drivers you're watching out for, hunting for a championship. Ted Wade's been the favorite to watch out for all season long. He's on top of the board for practically every single stat that you could have. But we're going to ride on board with the 2, see what type of a launch he's going to have on the outside as the pace truck about to pull off, as we're going to have a 5-lap shootout for stage number 2 here for the Iowa 150 for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. A little bit of flirting with the throttle, and now Wade is gone with Bradley drifting up, and it's going to be our top 3, top 4 all in line. It's going to be Stephen Thomas as well as Scott Haney. That of Keith Haney, excuse me. They're going to be side by side back for 4th place.
Yeah, just a textbook restart for Wade. You could hear the truck come up through the gears. It spun just a little on the start, but then really hooked up and drove off. And he's got a good one truck length lead coming across the stripe here as we get ready to close down stage 2. Some of these drivers out in the back going to get ambitious. You see Thomas to the bottom of Haney trying to get the run.
Both these drivers, the more they stay side by side, it's going to be hurting them on trying to go after our front 3. But for Stephen Thomas, winner from stage 1, he's already maximized stage 1 bonus points. Now it's just to see as many points as possible that he can grab. Ted Wade, who thought we were going to see dominate stage 1, got past there late. Looking for now 3 laps to go here in stage number 2. The only driver he's got to be worrying about is Keith Bradley behind him.
Yeah, Bradley right now matching lap times. He goes down in the corner a little bit higher. You have to wonder if he's looking to see if he can find some air on the nose. He's got a little bit more time to go here as he draws in within a half truck length, drives down low, left front down so he can get some air. He gets to that back bumper coming off of turn number 2. I think he's got a racy enough truck to give it a run here.
He's going to have just a few more corners to go. Ted Wade coming out of turn number 4, going to be taking the provisional white flag for stage number 2. And it's going to be seeing the 2 holding strong for now, but it's been the exit of turn 2 where Keith Bradley's really had the strength. Runs the center of the corner, back into the throttle. Has to blip out of it. Thought he was going to get to that outside wall, and that's going to be costing him time. Ted Wade into turn number 3. He's good enough. He's down low, defending, protecting, and out of turn number 4, it's the 2. Ted Wade taking stage number 2 here tonight for the Iowa 150. Those playoff points, massive for the 2, who already had the biggest bonus points going into the playoffs. He was first in points even before we started the green here for the round of the Sweet 16. And those bonus points going to be nice to have for Ted Wade.
Yeah, what a run in the back there. There was a heck of a scrum for about that 10th position as we watched that battle come back to the line. I tell you, it looked like a great run there between Newberg, Richards, Pitts, Doucette, Painter, and a couple other trucks just trying to do whatever they can to get to stage points. And now, well, you're going to make your bed. You're going to go ahead and get your final tires, get your fuel, and see what you can do to run this thing down to the finish.
Well, those 10 drivers getting the bonus points. It's going to be Ted Wade in first with Keith Bradley, Stephen Thomas in third. Blake Lothian as well is going to be seeing Keith Haney in fifth. Jacob Klinghardt, Tyler Dittmer, Adam Newbert, Robert Richards, and Trey Pitts. Going to be those 10 drivers. Joey Doucette, for the second stage in a row, comes up shy in 11th. But everyone comes into pit road. Now's the question. For the drivers that decided to take 2 tires, like Cody Knott in as at Osborne on that last yellow, now let's see if they're going to decide to take two tires again on this pit stop and try to equal them out, or if they're just going to stick with 4 at this stage break.
Yeah, Ted Wade going to slot into his box as everybody's going to get tires and fuel here. Right side tires going on for Ed Osborne. Just going to watch and see if it's a 2-tire change. See Richards go with the 2-tire change. Osborne going to change all 4. That answers that question. Is 4 tires and fuel for the 2 of Wade. He's down and away.
Ted Wade going to be the first driver out of those that came into pit road, but got to clarify that those that came into pit road, there's 4 that decided to stay out. Going to be that of Chris Cinnamon, Justin Lumpkin, Taylor Peacock, and Christopher Blanchard. Going to be those 4 drivers as we are now under our second stage break of the evening from that of Sim Racer of Sim Racer Hub, where if you're looking to get yourself stats on any leagues that are here on iRacing that use Sim Racer Hub, it's one of the best ways to see those stats. Again, get your race counters, wins, top 5s, top 10s. You even can look at your all-time in one series of how many races you started and all your stats. It's a great website to have for us in the broadcast booth, and as well for the drivers after the races are done to see how they're doing points-wise and what they need to do to get themselves up front for the best chances for a championship. Kevin, these drivers right now, got to say, our front 4 going with the gutsy call of state out under our last yellow, coming into pit road, getting service done. I mean, it's not the worst strategy in the world. This is getting at least Chris Cinnamon some bonus points.
Yeah. I don't know what kind of speed they have in these trucks. We saw the 3 was damaged. We saw the 87 was damaged. The bigger question I have is, will they be able to keep pace, or will they be in the way? And cautions breed cautions, especially with damaged trucks out in front. But you never know. In clean air, that truck might take off. And I still suspect that our top players are going to run these guys down. And we'll still be looking at the 2, the 23, and others right here to the finish.
And as well, we are closing in on a halfway for these drivers as the laps continue to dwindle down. And for now, it's looking like Ted Wade and that of Stephen Thomas going to be some of the favorites to watch out for, as Keith Bradley as well. But they're going to be back in 5th, 6th, and 7th. Ted Wade, one of the only drivers that's really had to climb his way through our top 5 to get up front, and he did so cleanly. But with the way that everyone shuffled through, biggest mover now going to be the 87 of Justin Lumpkin. Started back in 21st place, now up to 2nd. So up that of 19 position. Some other drivers that have been big movers and have been working their tail off to get up front. Joey Doucette's been one of those drivers that's really been working his way up front, but an odd strategy for the 16 here, Kevin, deciding to come to pit road to top off on fuel, looking like a little bit of strategy call for the 16 here of late. And also there's a couple of other drivers that decided to come in and top off. That of Brady LaBeouf, Cody Knott, Joey Doucette, Dana Shepard, all coming in to top off on fuel here until we get ready to go green.
Yeah, strategy-wise, there's got to be a benefit for that, for them to play that out. We'll see. Just put that in the notebook and see whether that has a play at the end. We saw one truck slow down there on the apron rolling around. That was the Gregory truck. Still having connection problems. He's going to pull out to the back of the pack, just kind of ride around. Tough night for Stephen Gregory in the 61 as he tucks in behind those trucks that you just said, Doucette and others that just pitted.
Well, up front four, they're going to be the drivers on older tires. It's going to be about 14-lap difference on how they run. Chris Cinnamon, Justin Lumpkin, Taylor Peacock, and Blanchard, those front four drivers. Watch out for Ted Wade, Stephen Thomas. They're back in row number 3. But we are green. No more stage breaks, and already going to be seeing a dive bomb move. It's Ted Wade trying to get by Taylor Peacock, and that aggressive move by the 2. You can tell he does not want to wait for any other pressure or potentially lose a position. He wants to get that clean air immediately.
The bottom line has been kind on these restarts, and he's got a good dig down there as he pulls ahead in. Now he gets a little sideways up off the corner. Everybody going to go by, and, well, look out front. Cinnamon had a good restart. He's been able to hold the pace here.
But now's the dash of who can get it done. Into the wall is going to be Peacock right in front of that of Blake Lothian, as well as that of Jacob Klinkhardt, going to be backing off some of those drivers on the high side. But yellow flag waves. Drivers further back on the back stretch. Issue strike.
You see the 22 now grabbing a gear and driving out of that as we're working caution number 6 on the evening. Incident over out of turn 2. Go to the pulse popper replay and see if we can get a shot at what started that action.
Let's watch Ed Housebarner in the 42. Just gets loose, overcorrects, tries to continue to save it. Makes more contact with Jeffrey Sickles. Gregory makes more contact, and it's actually 2 different incidences that struck. That was the 3 drivers that were involved with that wreck, but then you're going to be... There's also the 88 of Zach Hartwick that actually spun out by himself, who is going to be a driver losing some time. We're going to see what happened to the 88 here on why he decided to... I think he just got loose here, Kevin, for that of Hartwick. Just loses it in the center of the corner, tries to save it, then seeing other drivers having issues, and that truck just broke while he was drumming out of the corner.
Yeah, it almost looked like he got on the binders and just somehow wasn't able to hold it straight. Took an abrupt right. That had to be jarring your fillings there, that hit to the backstretch wall.
I'm wondering if he got on the brakes and then just decided to, just throw it down a gear and threw it down just too fast, and that just launched it to the outside. That was just an odd moment there for the 88, but for that of Hartwick, again, it was the second incident. The first one going to be that of Ed Osborne and others coming in, and Jeffrey Sickles, the 22, who was an innocent victim, just rolling around trying to get by. Going to be the one driver that has that required damage for the 22. I believe he blew his engine after trying to get to pit road, so that is going to be a very long wait for the 22 in pit road as the rest of the field trying to get back out on track. And we were talking about Chris Cinnamon got a great launch there. Only driver that lost positions of those that stayed out was that of Taylor Peacock, who got into the outside wall on the restart. So not the worst call, I got to say, for Cinnamon, Blanchard, and that of the Lumpkin.
And if you're one of these trucks, you got to like these cautions, although I don't know, it pulls everybody back to you, but I'll lead these laps under caution, take credit for them.
I mean, it helps with the tires, cools them off, also gives you a slight just cool down period for everyone behind, but also kind of makes it to where I think majority of these drivers, those that have already come into pit road, such as that of, Bradley Thomas, they want to get going. Ted Wade fell back to 6th. I thought he was going to lose more positions after his sideways spill and almost trying to just get by that of Peacock, and actually backfired for the 2. That's a curious moment for himself, showing that anyone and everyone can find themselves in trouble, especially for even those that have been extremely consistent. But Kevin, like I've been noting on all night long, first race of the playoffs for the Sweet 16 round, but there are still 2 more races to go in this round. Talladega next week in Kansas to finish out the Sweet 16 before we cut this playoff field in half and get to our Elite 8. What are your thoughts, though, on this round setup for these drivers? 3 races in this round, and it being a short track, super speedway, and an intermediate course to finish it off.
Yeah, my thought is the same as what we said on the outset. You got to have a good race here tonight, because next week is a wild card. Talladega, you know that the big one can collect you. And if you run well here, that bodes well for you at Kansas. Kansas, a very similar track and driving style as Iowa here. So if you're good at this intermediate or smaller type racetrack, then this should be a good stint for you if you have a good run at Talladega.
And then if you make it through this round of 16 that the drivers are in, they go to the Elite 8 round, where that's only going to be 2 races before they cut that in half into our Final Four. That's going to be Richmond and Darlington. I feel like even if you make it through this round, that next one, it is going to be even more intense with it only being 2 races. In Darlington and Richmond, those are going to be some tough tracks for these playoff drivers before we get to our final race at that of Homestead.
Yeah, Richmond, again, another type of racetrack like this, very similar, but Arlington's just its own beast. You race the racetrack, and you can get in trouble there just trying to get to the finish, let alone racing full field of trucks. So we're going to have a couple interesting weeks of racing that brings us to Homestead and the finale there on week 20.
It's going to be a good one to watch for these drivers, but tonight, still got to figure out who's going to finish out this race. 2 drivers that aren't. Jeffrey Sickles, Zach Hartwick. They have parked it. Chris Cinnamon, though, Blanchard, also going to be that of Lumpkin. Your front 3, they're on older tires, and we're ready to go green flag racing once more. Chris Cinnamon, great launch for himself, and working with his teammate, that of Keith Bradley, on the outside, letting the 29 get the good launch, which is now going to be putting Lumpkin as well as Blanchard in a tricky situation. Lumpkin's already losing ground. Blanchard fighting for his life there on the inside for second.
We have to remember that Cinnamon won the championship in a race where he had some help from the teammates. Oh, Blanchard going around to the grass.
And since he's in the grass, no yellow is going to be thrown. We stay green. And for that of Christopher Blanchard, I mean, he was trying to hold on strong and gets himself in trouble. Now he's got to hope that he get back up to speed as our leaders are coming out of turn 4 as he enters turn 1. But we go back to our leaders now. Chris Cinnamon, that of Keith Bradley, side by side into turn number 1.
Blanchard, he's going to have to call the AAA service he has on the back of his truck, see if he can get some of that grass picked out of the grill. As out front, we have a new leader. And Bradley's out front with Wade in tow. We see that tires have prevailed as Cinnamon drop back to 3rd.
And Chris Cinnamon, he's been running well for himself. And I know I was cutting you off, Kevin. What were you going to be talking about Chris Cinnamon there before I cut you off because Blanchard's incident?
My sense is that Cinnamon had a good run on the start, but I just don't know that he has the tires with a little bit of damage. I don't believe he's going to be able to hold these guys off, and he needed a jackrabbit start, and unfortunately, we're just running him down.
Oh, no, big accident on the front stretch. Oof. Drivers piling in, and it's going to be Rivera, Newbert, and Robert Richards, playoff drivers involved, as well as Abbott and a few others. Collecting in this one, I believe that also is the 17 of Brandon Bullock, who are involved in this incident. And we threw it out. The potential cautions, breeding cautions. Well, it certainly has struck in of drivers having issues. But here is the yellow and one brought out. Robert Richards, Newbert going to be side by side, coming out of the corner, and they get close to Dittmer, and just the 48 gets out of control for a moment there, and then it's just a chain reaction from there.
Yeah, we talked about that before. You're turning, all of a sudden the wheels hook up and the truck just flat out turned right on you going down the straightaway. And Richards has to be licking his wounds on that one. I'm sure that's one of those ones you wish you could replay.
be right on board with 48, get a sensation of what it's like right now. Looking smooth for himself into turn 3, just digging, hoping to get as much out of this thing. He lifts the throttle, it's into the gas, and then realizes it's gone. You see the aftermath as well.
Right there for a couple trucks.
Yeah, I mean, for that Rivera as well as others that came in there late, they were the ones who really got the brunt of it. A few of the drivers that got required damage for themselves going to be Brandon Bullock, that of Abbott Painter, and Adam Newberg. Going to be drivers with required damage. As the rest of the field crossed the line, we're on lap 100 for ourselves, and this is going to be cutting this field into about half. Those that are raceable, others that are just salvaging a race for themselves. And Kevin, now it's Keith Bradley as well. Wait, we have Frank Cristiano's going to be third. That is Stephen Thomas going to be on the outside. Now it's the question for that Bradley. Where does he want to restart here? Or do you want to go with where the leaders have been preferring, the outer lane? Or do you want to go down low to try to kind of hold back that of Thomas, who's going to be on the outside, kind of a delayed start you could potentially have here?
I don't know what a good answer is, other than I would always say traditionally you take the high side, you get a good jump on them, and you could turn the truck down and carry the speed through the corner. But we've seen Wade on the bottom for these restarts be very fast down there and able to use the bottom, turn 1 and 2, turn 3 and 4 on that first outlap. So this should be pretty fun to see if Wade can tackle him down here.
Who is going to get this thing done? Keith Bradley, Ted Wade, Chris Cinnamon, Stephen Thomas, Blake Lothian, as well as that of Jacob Klinkart, that of Keith Haney, Taylor Peacock, Trey Pitts, as well as Tyler Dittmer, going to be our top 10 ready to get racing here tonight. And Kevin, this is kind of where we're at the state. We're now going to be past that of lap 100. We're in our final 1/3 of this race. What are you feeling like is going to be the key for one of these drivers they're going to get to victory lane?
You're just going to have to be full out here and take every run, every opportunity. You're going to run closer to the back bumper. You're going to cut the runs off that you have behind you. You're just really, the way you get the win here is get up on the wheel. And we're going to see no quarter given here in these final 50 laps.
Who's going to get themselves up front? Also, another factor for these drivers we haven't touched on that often is tires for these drivers. They still have, for the majority of this field, 2 sets of tires for themselves to work with. They came in with 4 extra sets. Most of the field is coming to pit road twice. Now they've got themselves a little bit of a buffer to work with. Who's going to feel confident wanting to come in and lose track position for fresh rubber? Who's going to decide to stay out for the track position and see if they can defend?
Right now, you're kind of running the options through your head, and you want to rub the voodoo doll. Do you stop in segments, or do you save a tire for a light caution? And you can make significant ground with fresh tires on a late race caution if you have just a handful of laps and cautions don't come out. So there's never a good answer when you're sitting behind the seat. You just make the call and you live with whatever you have. There's still, a good amount of racing to go here. So I think these drivers, as much as I want to will them to start hammering down, I think they still have to be a little bit patient here and make sure they get to the finish.
Well, less than 75 laps to go, and Keith Bradley, Ted Wade going to be the front runners. Expecting to see Bradley get the better launch and then drop down in front of the 2 to work with teammates. The question is for Chris Cinnamon, how well can the 3 defend? He's going to be on the oldest tires of the drivers out here, and as well further back in the field is going to be that of seeing how well Taylor Peacock can hold on. But the pace truck is off. We are green here into the Iowa 150. And it's going to be all that of Keith Bradley, Ted Wade. Single file, Cinnamon still defending for 3rd.
And notice Bradley turned down a little more as he swept through, and he was able to hold the 2 at bay. And we look like we've got a run here with Cinnamon trying to get that bottom line working underneath Stevens or Thomas. And I look at the run out in the back there. Everybody else is single file, but Yeah, good run for Clinkart here to the outside.
I mean, Clinkart's done a great job just trying to recover. He was involved in some other shenanigans of drivers having issues in the 5. He's kept himself up front, and now going to be finding himself up front, but a driver having issues further back. No yellow flag being thrown, but that of Eric Zimmerman going to have issues on the back stretch, but we stay green. And it's the big thing. We've seen so many wrecks here, Kevin, without a yellow being thrown, and now we continue to race it on for our front runners that are all single filed out.
I'm not sure that he got a little bit of help there, although it looked like they really didn't touch, but perhaps the 61 Stephen Gregory was in the vicinity. We saw his connection issues, but right now, I would not have expected this. We've kind of single filed out. It looked a little conveyor belt action going on.
And this is our tri-cam, seeing all the different action throughout the field. And our main left camera, going to be watching the drivers that are battling it out for 4th, 5th, and 6th. For the upper groove, up right, that's where we're seeing the 11 of Derek Kilgore and 11 trying to defend over that of Adam Cantwell. And then in our bottom right, currently on board with the 61 of Stephen Gregory, but the drivers behind the 61 going to be drivers just outside of our top 20, racing hard all over the track, showing all the different views and camera shots of the drivers around the track.
And I say don't look now. Look on the left screen, that green nose on the front there. You see Taylor Peacock going through. He's in 7th position. Incredible recovery. He's still got enough time in a fast enough truck to make a difference. Just as soon as I say that, Haney, who's kind of dropped out of the picture, drops low and is going to drive by him and pick up that 7th position.
Yeah, and really seeing all the drivers right now, watching again that top right is where the majority of these drivers are racing so hard. Again, that is for the drivers just outside of the top 10 that we're watching. Derek Kilgore being passed by Joey Doucette, Trey Pitts, and now going to be seeing the 11 falling all the way back to 13th. It could be losing even more positioning as our bottom right camera now going to be the 48. That's Robert Richards, top 20 driver. That is 20th place. And then we're watching, again, our main camera on the left. Going to be watching the drivers that are in the top 5s. That's going to be currently right now Blake Lothian that we're watching with that of Jacob Klinkart trying to push for this 4th place spot. But all the drivers around this course right now, got to say, Kevin, we love the fact that we got the tri-cam. Gives us all the shots of those that are up for the top 5, top 10 battling in your top, that of right and bottom right, the driver that's in 20th.
Yeah, there's action all over the racetrack here. There's different little scrums going on. I saw the 2 of Ed Wade come up off of turn 2. I looked right over there and saw him maybe get to the outside wall trying to get all he can. Is the truck that's been impressing me tonight is Doucette here in that upper right-hand corner. You see the orange nose. He's just kind of made his presence known. He's had a good long-run truck and continues to work forward, although we saw earlier, Sam, he was doing a little bit of pit strategy, which has kind of kept him out of the mix, but I think he's got a fast truck.
Yeah, I mean, Joey Doucette right now, this is the 3rd time this race that he has climbed from all the way in last place up to 3rd. As we take a look here, running to 11th, trying to crack the top 10 for the first time tonight. One of our biggest movers of the night, technically, actually right now is the biggest mover, Joey Doucette, who did have to put a qualifying time down. I thought that was probably the big surprising thing. I thought for sure we're going to see the 16 try to qualify up front. Instead, went with the hard strategy, stayed in the back, has gone to the back twice now, has moved up to 11th 3 different times, missing out on bonus points at both of our stage breaks, but now has cracked the top 10, getting by Dittmer. But Peacock slowing down the 16. Remember, Peacock's on those older tires, and he's holding back to 16 for now.
Set drops down underneath out of turn number 4. Can he clear him up to the front straightaway? Not quite. Still going to hang down in the middle of the racetrack. Rolls around this front stretch, down through the bumps. In the bumps, he goes boom, 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 boom. Comes up off the corner. He's going to clear that position. And now he's looking at the back tailgate of Adam Cantwell, who's having a good run in 8th.
Adam Cantwell, who qualified up in that of 5th place. He's been up and down our top 15 as well as Taylor Peacock. You're involved in our first yellow of the day. Got loose out of turn number 2. Then got involved with multiple accidents. Rax Calhez also involved in that wreck and got to give credit to both that of Peacock and Hess. They've done a great job rebounding for themselves, both running in 10th and 11th position currently.
Lap sticking off. We're working lap 117 of 175, and now you want to run as hard as you can, but you know there's still enough race left, Sam, that you got to take care of your right front tire, especially, and we have a challenge for the lead, the 2, Ted Wade. Going to drop down underneath in turns 3, and he's going to clear. Put Ted Wade out front for more time, lap 119.
All the different passes that are going on. He said on our ticker, change the 2 top of the board over that of Keith Bradley, and Bradley tried his best to defend. We're still on board with Kyle Hess, and Hess right now side by side with Taylor Peacock, who finally gets clear if the 81 is right on board. He will now drift up to that outside wall and down into turn number 3. As the laps continue to dwindle away, we're inching closer and closer to 50 laps to go. We find ourselves just being that of 6 laps away. And Kevin, it's been, yes, we've had a few cautions come out, but this has actually been a pretty quick race here at Iowa watching these drivers. You never know what you're going to get. Sometimes it's caution-filled course where it's a caution every 5 laps that comes around. And other times you get this where there's sometimes a green flag run that happens. And if we continue to stay green, that's when things are going to get interesting on who decides to come into pit road.
Yeah, it's an exciting racetrack because of the multiple groups. You can drive down low, you can run high. Really, the problems that we've seen mostly have been through the bumps, but one of the things that you see, Dittmer comes off of turn number 2. He gets such a good run to the back of Hess, and those generation of runs allow you to draft up to the truck next to you. On some of these wide shots, we've seen trucks side drafting, where they pull over, take the air, dump it on the back spoiler, and then drive down off the side of the truck and able to make advantage. So aero in play here, even though this is a smaller 7/8 mile racetrack. And the other thing we've not talked about, Sam, is how the progressive banking comes into play. You see Dittmer in the 34 working that high lane. Because the banking's a little more severe up there, he can really carry the speed up to the high side, and it makes for racing all the way around this racetrack.
Also want to give a note to some of the drivers that have been having issues here this evening. Another driver that is done was that of Ed Osborne, who had a black flag for the longest time, decided not to come into pit road. 42 has been disqualified from the race and is parked it, leaving us with just that of 23 drivers left that are racing just one lap, with those being one lap down, 20 drivers on the lead lap. But certainly a lot of our playoff runners, they were hoping for some cleaner racing for some that are further back, like Adam Newberg, Devin Painter. They wanted some good runs, but I got to say up front, they've been doing a great job watching some drivers with great rebounds. Chris Cinnamon just now falling back to close to that of Kyle Hess in 10th. It's been a great run for a driver that's been on those older tires.
Yeah, Cinnamon holding his own. I would have thought he faded, but he's got some speed in that truck, even though he's got damage to the left side there, as we see one truck slow on the apron.
Now that driver going to be Adam Newberg, deciding that he's just going to get out of the way here tonight, just running to get as much just track time as possible for Adam Newberg, but he's going to pull it into pit road. Could be a done night for the 4 that is could have been grabbing a couple more positions if he stays out on track. We'll see if he decides to do so or not. It's the 3 losing positions, trying to dive down low, trying to figure out how to hold off Trey Pitts, but Pitts is going to come with a great run here out of turn number 4. That 27 is flying right now. And the 3, I think he's finally hit the end of that plateau of keeping it pretty equal with the other drivers. It's just too much wear and tear, even with the fact that we saw the 3 run so well last time we had a restart. It's now just fell into the clutches of the 12. But Kevin, we're now getting ourselves into that trend. We're 45 laps into tire wear for some of these drivers. We've had a couple of cautions that have allowed these tires to stretch out a little bit further, but now we're starting to see those that have saved their tires, they're making some bold moves. Speaking of bold, we'll went 3 wide for a second there, but Bradley trying to make the pass back there on Ted Wade.
Yeah, I was thinking just a second ago, watching these 2 battle, that Bradley had tucked in the back bumper of Wade, just trying to ride in his tire tracks. And we do have some fuel mileage going in play, and if you're out front and you're burning more fuel, I wondered if Bradley pulled back in behind Wade to tuck in and save some fuel. I just made that up because I'm not sure that's what he was actually doing, but certainly he has enough speed to lead as he drives around. He's going to pick up the top position one more time here at lap 130.
Well, another thing could have been the fact that, that Keith Bradley watched how the end of stage one went. Saw that Stephen Thomas just let Ted Wade go, and then made the charge moving forward to make the pass. Also, a lot of traffic could have been a factor here. Is that LaBeouf going to be holding strong on the outside? Not going to get out of the way, but certainly going to give space to our leaders as Keith Bradley sticks it side by side and will make the pass. Ted Wade now going to be following suit, but like I was noting on end of stage one, Stephen Thomas ran down the two here around the similar timing zone, and that's going to be a driver to watch out for if we're looking at the times. Stephen Thomas back in third, as well as that Keith Haney. They are the fastest, one of the fastest trucks on track, and they're catching up to our leaders.
Yeah, 25.043 for Keith Bradley last time, 24.978. Pretty close for Ted Wade right behind him, and a 25.10 or 0.1 for 23 of Thomas. And Thomas has not let these two get away from him, but one of the things that he has going on there is he just kind of can run in his own clean space that allows him to turn in, pick his line in, pick his line off, maybe pick up just a sniff of the draft in front of them. And when you're able to turn the truck in without it pushing, this was the comment I was going to make about Chris Cinnamon before when we were watching. With the tire wear, he was trying to stay in the draft of the trucks in front of him. When they turn down in the corner, they're cutting the corner better than he is. His truck picked up a little bit of a push, and as the truck pushes off, he's scrubbing off speed and losing the draft, and he's not able to stay in tow. Where the 23 is running right now, he's within enough distance of your top two leader to pick up a little bit of a draft, but yet in clean air, so he's got all that pressure, Sam, on the front nose of the truck, and he's probably not wearing that right front out as much.
No, trying to just figure out how to save any little bit that you can. As next time by, these drivers going to find themselves with 40 laps to go here at Iowa. And also fuel could be an issue for these drivers, or just think about taking tires. But this late into a run, you don't want to be caught a lap down. That could be an issue if a late yellow strikes. And I think that's also going to be in the back of these minds for these drivers that are up front. Do you even want to risk coming into pit road, even though tires, I would imagine at this point, would be so nice to have, as our leaders are running a little bit over a second slower than their best times?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure if there's a caution, I'm going to go get 4 tires, and you're going to see the entire field go down and empty the Goodyear carts. As noticing Steve Thomas closing in on these guys. He's been faster than your top two every lap coming here, and now if you look right out the back tailgate, the 23 is looming large.
Looming large, getting bigger and bigger, but there is a difference between catching up and making the pass. As there we go, Ted Wade ducking it down low. This is giving a great opportunity for Stephen Thomas. So Thomas can keep to the quarter panel of that of Keith Bradley. Might be able to make a pass, but at the same time, if Ted Wade backs off, loses too much ground, doesn't have the momentum, that's also setting up the 23. He's loving the fact that our front two are battling side by side.
Yeah, for Wade, he wants to make the pass, but he also has to say, don't burn tires, don't burn the tires. He's right down there on the yellow line. It's a good run out of turn number 4. Bradley, able to carry the momentum, has been able to nose ahead by a truck length. And that time he got a really good run off, and he's going to clear him going into turn number 1.
And as we keep on watching our top 3 battling it on, it's Keith Bradley, Ted Wade, Stephen Thomas now in line. Thomas going to try to set up how to make the pass for the lead, and never mind, it's Ted Wade who wants to get aggressive. He finally got the straightaway speed that he wanted, not able to get the run out of the corner. And once again, another lap goes to Keith Bradley. But Kevin, want to give note, the 16 of Joey Doucette, we were talking about how he's been climbing through the field. Well, he's now up to 7th for the 16 machine.
Yeah, my guess is some of these guys, 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, they would love to see a caution right now. They would love to be able to just close this gap and not have to erase the distance. The top 3 running under a blanket. You know, the funny thing is they battle up front, running side by side. We saw Wade and Bradley door to door there. That is going to allow some of these guys out in the back, and only 2 seconds of change is Haney back there, who always has a fast truck. I the end of the long road.
He's been very active on saving his tires and thinking about it, just giving up too much time for my liking. Joey Doucette now on the outside makes a power move for that ability to close the end, and now going to be moving up to sixth. Find himself 7/10 back from that of Adam Cantwell. Cantwell's been running extremely quick here at times, but once out of a lot of traffic, he loses all of that momentum, and it's Gregory gets passed by the 63, and this is Adam Cantwell, and Cantwell's been having a fabulous run here tonight. This is probably one of his strongest runs consistently throughout a whole entire race day that I've seen all season long from the 63.
Good service for the number 4 of Adam Newbert. Went in and I believe he took 4 tires and fuel in the middle. He's landing 4. Let's just check that. Yep, 4 tires and fuel for the number 4.
And Adam Newbert in the 4. He also going to be finding himself in that of 36 laps down. So he's just, at this point, trying to hold on for himself to make it to the end of this race. But for everyone else, those that are in the top 17 that are on the lead lap, they're hoping that they can find themselves maybe a caution, reset, not go a lap down. They're the biggest thing for them to watch out for is here battling that of Blake Lothian, Trey Pitts, who talked about just a few laps, about 10, 15 laps ago, being on the move. Well, the 27 up to 8th, trying to move up to 7th if possible for himself. And also Tyler Dittmer is going to be further back, trying to figure out how to find a little bit more speed. But Trey Pitts, another one of those drivers that had a good run last week and try to continue on with that speed here at Iowa.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of speed out of that truck every week. It's just, I don't know if it's track position, strategy problems that have prevented him from getting the results. But Trey Pitts always has a pretty quick little ride there as he's trying to get around Lothian. Lothian's just had a up and down night in the 59 truck, badged 43 on your screen. Here it comes to the outside.
Oh, and a yellow flag strikes.
You hear, woo!
Oh my goodness. From about to get hectic racing for these drivers, the yellow flag will be waved, and it's going to be that of James Morris bringing out this yellow flag. And Morris certainly not going to be happy about this contact between himself and Derek Kilgore into turn number 1 for themselves. But this is exactly what we were talking about, the hypotheticals, Kevin. A yellow flag strikes, and these drivers are finding themselves into a position where they've got to find themselves up front. Wow. Kilgore into the wall with that of James Morris, and there they go. Hard contact, able to get rolling, but too much sideways. Now going to be moving forward.
Yeah, that one made me flinch. You don't hit that hard at this racetrack usually, but just on the turn and carrying all that speed, you just backed the truck in, did a tank slapper, and then the right front went up and punched the wall. I'm surprised that truck doesn't have more damage than that. Pretty sturdy hit for that number 47 is, yeah, feeding time at the zoo. And you know what? If you got 4 tires and fuel, you're going to take them all here. A lot of these drivers, this is really a great time frame for pit stops for them.
Trying to get themselves situated here. It's going to be Keith Bradley in the driver coming in. Ted Wade going to be following suit. Everyone else checking to see if anyone wants to get risky to potentially stay out, or who can think about 2 tires at this stage of the game. I mean, we're just about that of, 27 laps out. Going to be about 25 when we go green. Who could think about taking these strategies? Ted Wade gets rolling, but it's going to be that of Bradley. Wade coming out of the line. It was a duel between that of, going to be seen between Stephen Thomas and Keith Haney, and it looks like Thomas able to get out. And I talked about a driver potentially thinking about staying out. Dana Shepard, believe it's going to be the lucky dog driver for the 43. But he is waiting to see when they're going to come into pit road, and they will, backing down and let the rest of the field catch up to the 43.
Yeah, no surprise. 4 tires and fuel for pretty much all those top front runners. Everybody got a good pit stop. Not a, I didn't see anyone slide through their box and have a problem. They went in one specific order and came out pretty much the same. So it'll be Bradley out in front of Ted Wade, Stephen Thomas, Haney, and, well, Doucette is running in 5th here on the scoreboard, but we'll see and wait for timing and scoring to catch up as they come around one more time.
Gonna try one more time for themselves. But now we've seen a couple of these last dash major pushes. Kevin, this is kind of when I'm going to get a little bit nervous for these drivers. That was the longest run, green flag run we've had. And now these drivers are going to be on cold tires, where we've seen the exit of turn 2 and the exit of turn 4 be treacherous at times, even for our front runners. And with it going to be about 25 or less laps to go and we go green, this is, I'm getting a little nervous for how these front runners are going to take off and how aggressive they're going to be. And if we're going to be seeing cautions breeding cautions in these final 25 laps.
Yeah, I don't know what it is about the driver psyche. Typically in the beginning of the race, especially in the start, you drive down into turn 1 and you just kind of beat the throttle. You don't slam the gas down or whatever. But when you get to the end, you feel like you can't afford to give any of that up. And on cold tires in the beginning, you tiptoe, and towards the end, you just run wide open and look up to the sky for a little divine intervention there. And I suspect we're going to see some extracurricular activity here off of turn number 2, this restart.
Well, we're going to be seeing that of Keith Bradley, most likely going to be taking the outside lane on this restart. We've seen drivers that have the lead go with the outside. Then Ted Wade's going to be on the inside. Both drivers have worked together perfectly and in sync on getting themselves in line. It's going to be seeing those drivers in 3rd and 4th. How are they going to be able to just get themselves out of the exit of the corner? And this gives a driver we haven't talked about a lot. We knew that he was going to be quick. That of Keith Haney in 4th. He's going to be a driver to watch out for. But Joey Doucette no longer putting himself in a bad situation further back. That's 16, now up in the top 5.
Yeah, for Joey Doucette, he just needs to close the chapter on the book and get himself to the finish. If he does, he's typically up there. I tell you, the driver that looks good, and we still have a handful of laps to go, he was closing in like a shark. I think Stephen Thomas got something. These guys sitting back there in 3rd.
I'm looking at some of the drivers and their best laps that they've put down. Driver that's kind of, I can't wait to see how he's going to attack. Adam Cantwell. It's going to be the 4th truck on the inside. He is the 3rd fastest lap of all the drivers this race on their best lap time. Fresh tires are here. Will this be the final restart? Let's find out. It's the Iowa 150, and the 29 is on the lap pedal. We're taking off, and they're already seeing some drivers trying to put their nose to the outside. It's going to be seeing Haney stuck down, dropping down low, but our front 2, solid restart. But it's that of Haney, that's 78. Watch out, there goes Pitts up to the outside wall.
Yeah,
Pitts,
yellow comes out.
There's going to be Cody Knott, Zimmerman, and others further back collected in this one.
I hate to do that, but I got it right. Unfortunately, that was pretty hard hit for a couple of those drivers over there on the back straightaway.
Also going to see Kilgore and this Pulse Poppers instant replay. And for the driver that didn't want to see that, that's Cody Knott, who's had some poor luck for most of this season, caught up in being the innocent victim. But watch straight pits here. Outside, just a little bit of contact from Joey Doucette, and away they all go. Also, Shepard and Zimmerman, they were just stacked up on one another, coming in there late. That was an odd one.
Yeah, I just think they had no place to go. The top lane was blocked. They just got hard on the binders to keep piling into it. Biggest hit of the run was Cody Knott, and we'll see that he had no place to go here. On the high line, watching everything develop. It's that red truck up out in front of them. They're going to come together. The red truck bounces up, hits the outside wall. He's hard on the gas, and then boom, off the wall. And I think you had a clear line there, Sam. Unfortunately, just that trajectory of a pinball action caused him to go across and hit that inside wall.
And watching right now, in our eyes, Trey Pitts is going to have some major damage, but we're going to get a little bit of a different shot here. Now these drivers restarted, and gotta say, this is an interesting one, but more interesting than that, driver has been disconnected for quite a while. Asked them to reconnect to Ted Wade, issued from the 2.
Oh, and that's enough. It's spun around. And also heard the engine pop there late, so Cody Knott has parked it. He is done. But Kevin, big implications for our front runners. Ted Wade disconnected, has not reconnected back in, and he's soon to be going a lap down. And that has been a struggle for the two for the longest time all season long. And it looks like he could be disconnected, and he is officially now a 1 lap down. As we're 20 laps to go, it's going to be less than 20 when we go green.
And, you know, as bad as that is for Wade, it's disheartening for all the guys that are racing with him. They do not want to see that type of situation occur to a fellow driver. They want to race him heads up, and that's just got to be totally frustrating. I can't imagine what kind of things are floating in the air there at the Wade household.
And looking at some of the drivers that are still out on track, with it being 20 laps to go, where Ted Wade is running, that's 20th position. James Morris is able to get back out on track. Trey Pitts is going to be finding himself still with required damage. Cody Knotts is out of the race. He could be losing for that Ted Wade at least 2 more positions, which would put him back in 22nd spot. But big props for the two, though. Even with his internet woes, he did win stage number 2 and got good points for stage 1. So those bonus points kind of basically bump him up to potentially a top 5 finish points-wise, but the finishing results will say that he finished outside of the top 20.
Yeah, you almost wish that they could come back in and somebody could reset them to 1 lap down and give them a fighting chance to come through. We'll see what happens, whether he can get reconnected and salvage something out of this, but certainly a twist of events, and he's going to have his work cut out for him in the next couple of weeks.
Certainly is. Again, Talladega, Kansas, going to be the next tracks. Ted Wade now going to have to hope for some heroics going into Talladega in Kansas to make sure that he stays instead of our top 8 moving forward. Pace truck, seeing those lights go off, going to be seeing our drivers stacking up, getting ready to go. Keith Haney, Stephen Thomas, Blake Lothian, Keith Haney, as well as Joey Doucette, Adam Campbell, Jacob Klinkhart, Tyler Dittmer, Kyle Hess, and Chris Cinnamon going to be your top 10 drivers getting ready to go. Kevin, going to be 17 laps to go. What are you expecting here on this restart now after we saw that calamity from our previous restart?
2 words, no prisoners. You're just going to run wide open here. You got fresh tires relatively and a handful of laps. If I'm sitting anywhere in that top end, I'm just going to take every single run I can. If I'm Bradley and I see Thomas my outside, drag race to turn number 1. I want to be first there, and if I'm Haney, I'm looking for any opportunity I can to get through.
Any and everything. We are now going to be finding ourselves down into turn number 1. Going to be seeing these drivers racing as hard as they can. And it's going to be that of Keith Bradley pulling away for now, but you can see Lothian, this is the battle for 3rd. That of Keith Haney, Stephen Thomas, they're keeping it close to one another.
Run for Thomas to the outside. He's going to clear Haney and see if he could set sail to those top 2 have broken away a little bit. Lothian has been quietly stalking these guys all night long. Now he's got a legitimate run as he tucks up to the back bumper.
No, Haney!
Keith Haney goes around and hits the inside wall.
And he's off the racing surface, so we stay green. 16 laps to go as the 78 finally gets rolling. But now up front, the battle for the lead. A little bit of shuffling. Blake Lothian now takes the lead over Bradley.
Yeah, just a massive run down the front straightaway, and he drove through. For Bradley, not a championship contender, so as much as he wants to win this race, he's got to win the war. And at this point, he's looking at the rearview mirror of the 23, and with
Yellow.
15 to go, yellow's out as we got a truck sideways over in turn 4.
Klinkhart's going to be involved with this one and a few others as well. Hard racing, like you said, no prisoners, and we've seen multiple drivers having issues. Here's your Pulse Poppers instant replay. And watch out as the 5 finds trouble here early on this lap. Going to be Adam Campbell in the 5, going to be side by side, but up side by side, and it's going to be on the entry and exit of turns 3 and 4. Campbell, there's the contact, and there goes the 5. spinning around, and woo, Peacock really had to throw that sucker up in the outside wall, and others as well sneaking on by.
What a shame for Glencard. He's had such a good run, and I'm sure Cantwell didn't mean it. You know, we just said how hard these drivers are going to run to the finish, and, well, and we see some drivers taking the advantage to pit. I believe that you could pit from out back, but if you're out front, you're going to run with what you got.
And you talked about it, drivers further on back, and I think about coming into pit road. Chris Cinnamon going to be the leader of that group. 12th on back, all coming into pit road. And for Ted Wade, he has reconnected back in 4 laps down. Is going to be the 2 back in 21st position. Can grab 20th back. James Morris has disconnected for himself. So that's at least putting him 20th. But this certainly is not the way that the 2 saw this night going. But up front, Blake Lothian, think back to one of the last short track races we saw. This 43 on his truck, 59 on our ticker. On track. I always go back, Kevin. I think it's one of the most memorable moments of watching at that of the Lucas Oil Raceway, seeing this 59 just dive bomb it, taking out Keith Haney and gifting the win to Joey Doucette. Joey Doucette in a pretty similar spot in 4th. He could be sitting in a spot where we might see some more dogfighting as we're seeing the laps tick away under this yellow.
Yeah, you know, there's some NASCAR events where you see an incident occurred, and every year they arrive to a track, they show that replay over and over and over again. Blake Lothian, he wants to forget that one at IRP. The best way to do that is to get yourself in here. I haven't seen him for a while in the service running these races, but every time he shows up, he's in contention to win, and here puts himself in position one more time, as he's going to lead the field back to green with about 10 to go. Looks like he has a pretty quick truck, and if he can get out in that clean air, it's going to be hard to wrestle this away from him.
And a couple of the drivers up in the top 10, we've seen in the top 10 for the majority of the year, but one of the drivers that has not finished in the top 10 or top 5 all year long and looking for the first in both, at 63 in 5th place in the bright lemon green, Adam Cantwell. This is the best race we've seen Adam have all season long, and could begin his season best finish. His other best finish of the year was back up for 11th place finish for that of Adam Cantwell, and he's hoping that he can best that Nashville Oval race, another short track, and showing the short tracks is where the 63 can find some speed. But up front, Blake Lothian, Keith Bradley, I mean, both of these drivers.
Did you, Sam?
What?
You know the curse.
You'd say it. I've been saying it all night. Yeah, been calling drivers out. It's bound to happen. But Blake Lothian and also Keith Bradley, both these drivers have not won in a short track event. For Blake, he won at the Glen. For Keith Bradley, it's been all at super speedways. Can they get it done? Steve Thomas, he's one of the short track. Joey Doucette's one of the short track. Different storylines to throw out here as we're getting ready for 10 laps to go and expecting these pace truck lights to go off.
All kidding aside, I love to see Cantwell, the run that he's had. He started up front. He's been running up front the whole night, and I do want to see him get up here and get himself in top 5. But I just hate that broadcaster curse where we start to talk about some of these guys and they find trouble on the next restart. Let's, speak to the gods or something here and not wish that upon him. And well, this should be interesting here. I have to wonder, is Bradley looking for the win, or is Bradley looking to beat Thomas right behind him? I have to wonder where his head is.
I'd imagine you'd want the win, especially on the fact that the opportunity you find yourself just up front. You don't want to get maximize your points going into these next couple of races. That'd be nice to make sure that you can get this win. Keith Bradley, Blake Lothian going to be your front runners. Pace truck is off. 9 laps to go. We are green, as it's going to be seen Lothian on the loud pedal on the outside. Side by side for 3rd place, though, as almost thought Bradley was going to try to send it into turn number 1. Not close enough, but it's going to be side by side for 3rd. Joey Doucette, Stephen Thomas, side by side right now. Joey Doucette's got the nose over that 23, but it's Lothian into turn 3, feeling comfortable for himself.
Lothian with 2 truck lengths out of turn number, we got the 87 of Lumpkin in the wall out of turn number 4. Lothian out front, 2 truck lengths, and now 87 gets tagged from behind as you see Stevens. He's going to be able to, or Stephen Thomas, I called him Stephen, sorry, was able to drive around the nose of Doucette, and we'll see if he can run up there and make himself a factor before this thing is over.
And with the fact that these drivers are going to be on fresher tires, they really haven't had it through long green flag run, yellow after yellow. More contest going to be made, pushing up out of Cantwell. Michelle has Pumpkin after his loose. It's now going to be down to down low. Moves. Also going to be seeing all the other drivers put their nose in. That's going to be the 19 of Blanchard. 3 wide off, 4 wide from Modat, Iowa. Out of turn number 4, and this is hard race that we're seeing. These are drivers back to that 10th position. And watch here, Chris Simmons for the 30 pieces for just inside of the top 5, top 10. And there's Kyle S. and Blanchard. You don't want to see that. It's going to be that Simmons and kept it on track. Here, Kevin, it is a madhouse of that.
It's like a horror movie. I don't know whether to close my eyes or lean forward and watch with more intensity as Blanchard carves down to the bottom. He's right down on the yellow line underneath Lumpkin. They're 3 wide. Through the corner, Cantwell to the outside, trying to get the run. Doucette leads this pack. He's out front. The top 2 have driven away, and this is just a pure dogfight to the finish as these drivers scrapping. Many of them, Sam, have had trouble so far this race, but having good recoveries here, trying to get the best finish they can.
And one of the drivers to watch out for, he's going to be at the tail end of this mosh pit that we see, the 5 of Jacob Klinkhardt. He's going to be back in 12, and the black and white machine going to be side by side finding himself back there with some other drivers. But this group, Blanchard, going to be in the 19, blue and white. Oh boy, coming up into Lumpkin for now, as well as the 3 of Chris Cinnamon. Everyone's going to be ducking and diving. If you find a spot and you've got the maximum speed, you're going to send it, place yourself there. Chris Cinnamon, Blanchard, a little bit of contact, and we're going to be seeing if Taylor Peacock can slide his way through. But also Hess and Cantwell, they're side by side for 6th place. Our top 5, they're feeling comfortable because if we're going to see a yellow, it's going to be right here. That's why we can't get our cameras off of this spot. But for the lead, it's closing in between that of Lothian and that of also going to be seeing Keith Bradley. And Bradley's finally there. Kevin, I think you've been waiting for those tires, and now it's go time with 2 laps to go.
Bradley's just about pushing Lothian down the backstretch. Now he's going to duck down low and dive through. Good run to the corner. I believe he's going to clear him up out of turn 4. Bradley has to come up and contact between the 2 of them. That's about as block as you could get without getting turned. He's got to be careful. Turns the truck aggressively down into turn 1. Now he's going to hustle out of turn 2. You've got to drive yourself away as we are on the CRN, 1 to go. Bradley, with authority, takes the lead out of 4.
You saw the gears turning for Lothian going in turn 1, but no longer close enough. It's Keith Bradley winning the first race of the playoffs for the Sweet 16. And just like that, the 29 is not just a super speedway phenom. It can finally get done at other tracks. Congratulations to this 29 team. It's a congratulatory bump from that of Lothian, and other drivers expected to give this 29 a bump. But Kevin, that little dash, the dive bomb down and coming to the white flag, that was the move of the race that got this 29 into the lead and getting the win here.
Yeah, I have to wonder if Lothian had anything in his mind about crashing a championship contender as that block on the front straightaway. Bradley was not shy about putting it on, and he's going to come away the winner here, and all the better. What a great way to start a championship run as he missed that turn in there for the donut. We'll have to jazz him a little bit about that. He'll go back and try it again.
I mean, you always could just throw it into first gear once you get out of the grass and just spinning that sucker around. Also just taking it easy potentially here as now he gets to burn it down on the front stretch. Is Keith Bradley, and I might have cursed Adam Cantwell from a top 5, but he did get a top 10. Best finish for that 63. Also a really good finish for the 19 of that of Christopher Blanchard, coming away with his 2nd best run. But our top 3, I mean, that is a strong finish for Keith Bradley, Lothian, and for that of Stephen Thomas. Lothian not in the playoffs, but you gotta be feeling it for Ted Wade. He was able to rebound for a little bit, got up to 18th, but he was going to be a contender to watch out for here late if he was able to stay connected to the server. Was not able to. And Keith Bradley gets to burn it down, and he'll park it there on the front stretch. So it gives us a moment to look at our unofficial racing results here as we see where they finished. Going to be Keith Bradley taking that first place spot with that of Blake Lothian, Stephen Thomas. We'll talk to our top three after we look at our results. With that is Joey Doucette in fourth. Tyler Dittmer able to move up to fifth. Great run for that 34. Adam Cantwell getting his best finish of the season in sixth with Kyle Hess, Chris Cinnamon, that of Jacob Klinkhart, and as well going to be Christopher Blanchard for your top 10 here tonight.
11th for Justin Lumpkin. Taylor Peacock soldiers on for a 12th. 13th is Dana Shepard in the 43. Derek Kilgore comes home 14th. Top 15 for Robert Richards in the 48 after all that damage. Brady LaBeouf never really a factor here tonight. He finishes 16th. 17th for Jose Luis Rivera after a strong run on the outset. We chronicled Ted Wade's problem. He comes home in 18th. All these drivers several laps down. Stephen Gregory in the 61, 19th, 20th tonight for the Eric Zimmerman 94.
And for the drivers that were not able to truly finish out this race, going to be that of Keith Haney, as well as seeing that of James Morris, Trey Pitts, Cody Knott, Adam Newbert, with that also Brandon Bullock, Ed Osborne, Devin Painter, that of Brian Abbott. Jeffrey Sickles going to be your top 30 and last driver to finish out this race. In 31st, going to be that of Zach Hartwig. 31 drivers started, and only that of 17 on the lead lap. It was Keith Bradley getting the win, and when we come back, we'll talk to our top three. Stephen Thomas finishing third, second goes to Blake Lothian. We'll go to the butt kicker victory lane and talk to that of Keith Bradley for his third win of the season. We'll be back in just a few. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the post-race show here on LSRTV for the NASRA Triple M Pulling Truck Series. First race of the playoffs for the Sweet 16. It certainly was spectacular. We saw some drivers having downfalls and others seeing success here this evening. And we got our top three up in the booth. We're going to start things off with third place finisher Stephen Thomas. Look at his thoughts here in that last dash. Stephen, we saw you win stage number 1, and then after that, kind of fell back, pushed your way forward at other moments. But what else could you have done in those final couple of restarts there to go for a win?
I don't know. I got to figure something out on the restarts. For some reason, that's killing me. Not only the restarts itself, but the short runs here tonight. I didn't have nothing for him. Blake, Keith, Ted, I think those 3 were really just killer on the restarts. But I had it in the long run. Obviously, if we didn't get that caution there, I think with about, 25, 27 to go, I had something for him tonight. But unfortunately, we did.
I had the pencil set up for you to have the headline there. I saw you closing in on that thing, and that yellow was not your friend there. But still, how do you feel about third place finish with championship starting here tonight?
Yeah, I'll take it. I needed these points tonight. I think only one driver, and Keith finished ahead of me as far as the playoffs goes. So, yeah, I'll take it. I'll take third tonight. I'm a little disappointed because, like, getting a pole and winning stage 1, I had a bunch of confidence going through this race. But I'll take third.
I mean, Steven, still get a lot more playoff racing action to go. How are you feeling about these next 2 playoff races, Talladega and Kansas?
Talladega and Kansas. Let's just say I'm glad I finished up here tonight to give me some cushion going into Talladega. I'll just try to be conservative as I can through Talladega and see where I end up at the end. And I really enjoy Kansas. So I guess we're off to a good start here, man, as long as I can get through the couple big ones in Talladega.
Let's hope so. Again, great start here this evening. 3rd place for yourself. And before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys, of course, at Broadcast, man. You guys do awesome. I love going back and watching the races. Triple M Pulling, Over the Top Designs, Blanchard Towing, Butt Kicker, Michael and Brady and all the admins involved. My sponsors, Family Handyman and Powerhouse. My teammates tonight, I believe Adam, like you guys said at the end of the race, had his best finish of the year this season. So shout out to him. And shout out to Keith for his win tonight, guys. Y'all have a good one.
That's going to be Stephen Thomas in the 23, coming away with a 3rd place finish here tonight. A great way to start out the playoffs. Congratulations on that, and good luck going into Talladega.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a good night.
And now we're going to be finding ourselves at 59. That of Blake Lothian. And Blake, I want to charge for yourself. You had the lead there late, but what else could you have tried to do there to try to get the win here this evening?
Oh man, I let get in my head. That's 100% on me there. I started looking in my mirror with about 5-4 to go. I started seeing them coming. I should have just kept running my exact same line. So I kind of let it happen to me. And then once I got on the fence there, that's kind of let it get away from me there. I watched it get away. So I could have done a crazy last lap move there, but yeah, didn't think that was a smart idea.
Yeah, Blake, we've seen you sporadically through the season here. Happy to see you come back and join us tonight. Got Kansas coming up. You got Richmond coming up. Similar tracks to this with a strong run tonight. Does that give you confidence for the rest of the season to see if you can get yourself a win?
Yes, most definitely. I mean, I came back from Martinsville Speedway from the Kipper World Truck Series, made my debut in that exact same 43 truck. So I have definitely a lot of confidence coming into running more truck series stuff here with NASRA and going into short tracks. I mean, I feel like we have a really good idea of how these trucks are going to perform, the tire fall off, and how to race as the tires fall off. So I feel like we have pretty good insights now on how these things are going to run.
Well, Blake, it was a fantastic run on your part here tonight, able to climb your way forward and fighting and dueling. But before we let you go, the floor is yours for any shout-outs.
Yes, of course. Thank you guys for, of course, the great broadcast. I always keep my phone down, listening to the broadcast the entire time. I have to thank Stick With It Motorsports, Millie's Restaurant Catering. For some reason, the paint scheme didn't show up on the truck tonight. So I have to give a huge shout out to those guys there. Thanks for sponsoring us for this entire season. You know, it's a little partial schedule. I have to thank NASRA, of course, for putting on an amazing series. Great turnouts every single race. So, and then, of course, Keith Bradley, man, that was a great finish. Race with him. Racing pretty clean the entire race, so can't complain at all.
Well, Blake, first want to give you again congratulations on your debut at Martinsville, and as well congratulations on that of a second place finish here this evening, and good luck going into Talladega next week.
Thank you, Sam.
As now we go up to our butt kicker victory lane with that of Keith the Animal Bradley finding his way into victory lane. Keith, how you feeling after that duel with 5 laps to go? You thought it was over, and then you come away with getting their victory here at Iowa.
Holy cow! What a finish! What a race! Man, I'd tell you, I really thought Blake was going to run away. I really did.
How do you find the speed and the courage to, one, execute the pass the way you did? You drove down in the bottom of the racetrack and just sailed it in there. And then when you came up, you put the block on, you got a little bit of a tap and drove away. That took some pretty big courage there out of turn 3 and 4.
Man, I tell you what, I think it was lap 168. I ran my fastest lap of the race, and I was catching him, but I wasn't catching him enough. And then I just started finding different angles to go into. One, I think, is where I really caught him a lot, and then carried that momentum down into 3 and 4. And I had to go. I had to throw it. I had to do what I had to do there. I wouldn't have done it to anybody else. I know me and Blake, we've raced a lot with NASRA, and we keep it pretty clean. And I really thought I was going to get the bumper more than what I did there. Man, I can't believe it. I can't believe we won this race tonight.
I mean, Keith coming in with this win. I'm trying to remember, is it a win in your in system, or you still got to get those points?
That's the best thing about it. It's winning your in. So now we can go to Talladega and Kansas and not really have to worry about getting in on points.
That's got to be a comfortable feeling for yourself, and especially would have been kind of demoralizing to see if Blake had stolen that away from you. But you got the win. You're now locked in to the Elite 8. What are some of the people you got to thank, though, here tonight after getting your win?
Man, I want to thank all the teammates at Upfront Motorsports. Ted, Chris, Keith Haney. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't be nearly as fast as we are, because I think we show a lot of speed when we show up, and we bounce a lot of ideas off each other. I want to thank them. John Hedrick over at Over the Top Designs, he's keeping us fresh. Winter Circle Pizzeria, Racer Apparel, Bruzy Racewear, you guys with LSRTV bringing us these awesome broadcasts, and I can't wait to watch this one tonight, especially the last 5 laps, because that was probably the best finish we've had in NASRA history, I'd say. And then thank everybody from NASRA, Brady, Michael, everybody that shows up every Friday night to watch us.
That's going to be Keith Bradley coming away with the win here tonight. Congratulations on the win and being able to say you're locked into the next round. And good luck going into Talladega next week.
Thank you, guys.
Well, from the butt kicker victory lane, I mean, Kevin, it was a spectacular night of hard racing. Stage 1, Stage 2, they did not disappoint. But, man, those final 20 laps, that's really when it got wild. You didn't know what was going to happen. We were watching 6th, back to that at 12th, right on top of one another. And then it was our top 2 that really put on the best show there at the end. But what were some of your final thoughts here this evening?
Yeah, if this is any sign of what we're going to see over the next 4 weeks leading to the championship on June 10th, we're in for an exciting run.
We certainly are. Again, the next race for these drivers is going to be at Talladega. And Kevin, that is, I think for all the drivers that are in the playoffs, that are still racing, that are not Keith Bradley, this has got to be now the most nerve-wracking aspect of the whole entire season, because we're going to a super speedway wild card. No one knows what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's pretty much like laying down on black, and you just don't know whether or not the wheel is going to spin and go in your favor, or whether you're going to end up a steaming pile of junk over on the inside wall in the backstretch at Talladega. But it sure is going to be fun to watch how it turns out.
Well, we cannot wait for that racing action again. That's next week, where the drivers will go to Talladega to see who's going to find a win, potentially lock themselves in. Will we see a non-playoff driver steal the win, or could we see the driver that's dominated at the super speedways, that'll Keith Bradley, back in victory lane? All the storylines will be told there next week here on LSR TV. But for tonight, thank you, Kevin, for joining me. My name is Sam Dyer, and as well, LSR TV Studios for giving us all the cameras, graphics, and giving you all the coverage here on LSR TV. Well, tonight, first race of playoffs for that of the Sweet 16. Iowa, it's done. It's Keith the Animal Bradley getting to victory lane, locking himself